Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Monday, March 4th, 2024, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $ ORIONNWSF or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got NHL action this Monday evening. The Seattle Kraken defend the deep, release the Kraken versus the Calgary Flames. We had some free agency news kind of drop, with Mike Evans re-signing with my Buccaneers, which is fantastic. And I was thinking about, possibly doing an NFL video earlier today. But once I ended up doing the post, I didn't really want to do an NFL video or, maybe a live stream just for Mike Evans alone. And then the Russell Wilson, being cut or they're moving on from him. That information came out a few hours later. And there has been a few other, either cuts or moves. So, maybe we'll end up doing that tomorrow and kind of going over to see if there's any more extended news. But I'm very, very happy that Mike Evans decided to re-sign 2 years, over 50 milli. And I'm not sure if that's going to be the last contract of his career. He may play after that 2-year contract is up. So he either will play the 2 years, retire, and then call it a career, and he'll be an all-time Buck, just like Mike Allstott, Rondé Barber, and Derek Brooks. He'll be in that same category, a legend, icon, right? Or the 2 years will run out, and then he may look to find another deal, for the last stretch of his career, depending on how many more years that he wants to play, whether that be with Tampa Bay or with another team. So Antoine Winfield Jr. will get the tag. Baker Mayfield, even though it hasn't publicly came out, will be back on the Buccaneers 100%, because Mike Evans isn't going to sign unless he knows that Baker is going to be the quarterback. So if they decide to draft like a Bo Nix or a Michael Penix Jr., that's fine, as long as Baker, is going to be back with the team. So at least they would have options. But the main thing, Mike wants to make sure that he has someone that he feels comfortable with. And I feel that since him and Baker were so locked and loaded last season, Mike Evans tied the NFL for first place in touchdowns in the entire NFL, not just in the NFC, but in the AFC as well, with 13 touchdown receptions. So I think a big part of the re-signing is not, knowing that Antoine Winfield Jr. will be back and franchise tag, but the simple fact that even though the media, they haven't, pumped this information out yet, Baker Mayfield will be on the Buccaneers 100%. And that's why Mike Evans, got the nod and said, okay, I want to be able to see what other options are available. I want to see what kind of money is available. In reality, all he really wanted to know is Baker going to be coming back or not. So internally, having the meetings with his agent and the rest of the guys, are we going to be a Super Bowl contender? No, we're not going to be a Super Bowl contender, but at least it makes me feel good that arguably the highest and the most popular and the biggest name in free agency is coming back to Tampa Bay. So I'm loving that. And again, we will end up doing some, NFL streams throughout the week when we don't have Kraken games. Maybe we'll end up just doing some NFL talk, NFL, cuts, NFL free agency pickups, moves, and we'll end up doing that. Megan with a 50, I appreciate you. So we'll end up going into that. And I was very close on possibly doing the NFL stream as soon as that Mike Evans information came out. But then I noticed the Kraken, were on the schedule tonight. So I figured let's do the Kraken game today. And then there'll be a few days during the week where the Kraken have a day off. And then if we want to just do a freestyle stream or, an NFL stream, we can go that route as well. So Daniel in the building. What's good, brother? Sarah in the building. She's not feeling well. Everyone give her your well wishes. She's under the weather, so I don't know how long that she will be here. She feels like crap, and I applaud her for coming through, at least hanging out with us for the first hour, and then I let her know if she needs to go after that. That's totally fine. I want you to make sure that you're taking care of you, and you and the mama are sick at the house, so make sure you take care of your mom, you take care of you, and hopefully the Kraken can get a dub here tonight. Maybe, but that's what everyone is saying. Everyone is. I mean, that's really the only logical spot that they've been saying. But hell, if you're Pittsburgh, I would rather have Kenny Pickett than have Russell Wilson. Now, is Russell Wilson a better quarterback than Kenny Pickett based off stats of last year? Yeah, but I don't think Kenny Pickett's the answer either, or Mason Rudolph or Russell Wilson. If I was Pittsburgh, I'd either go Kenny Pickett one more year and then try to get draft position for the next draft class, or if that's not going to be an option, look at someone else like Kirk Cousins. And if you don't want to go for Kirk Cousins and he resigns with Minnesota, which is very likely, even coming off his injury, I don't think that Russell Wilson is worth the money, the headaches. At this point, I think that if I was a team looking for a quarterback, I would probably just go to the draft this year or next year, and I would just pass. I mean, you saw what Denver did, with Nathaniel Hackett. You saw what they did with Russell Wilson. The only really good thing that the Denver Broncos have done in the last couple years is Sean Payton. But even in the beginning, when they got blown out by like 70 points, to the Dolphins, it was like, we got a Nathaniel Hackett 2.0 where Payton's not going to be able to, turn this team around. So, honestly, if you really think about it, the owner and the GM for the Denver Broncos, those are the guys that need to be fired, or those are the guys that need to go. But again, if Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin think that they can get the most out of Russell Wilson, so be it. But the problem is that Russell Wilson's going to want a lot of money. So for me, I would rather go some other direction instead of trying to pay a guy a lot of money. And even if he puts up stats like, let's say, similar to last year, let's say Russell puts up 26 to 30 touchdowns and 8 to 12 picks. That's still probably not going to be good enough to win the division, let alone to get to the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl. So for me, Russell Wilson is a little bit too much of a headache, but I also I feel bad for him because Sean Payton and that Denver Bronco team kind of did him dirty, pretty much saying that, hey, if you don't negotiate your contract and change some of the fine print, saying that if we play you for the rest of the season and you get hurt, we're not going to pay you. That's essentially what they were forcing him to do. So I feel that, Russ has some good moments. Russ has some bad moments, either on the field or off the field. But the bottom line is he is no longer part of the Denver Broncos, which we kind of already knew. And they will more than likely be looking for a quarterback. And there's really only one guy that I can think of that would be the best fit and someone that, Sean Payton can mentor and get them. I'm not saying they're going to go to the playoffs the first 2 years if they draft a guy like Bo Nix. But I think Bo Nix puts you in a good situation where you can at least try him out for a couple years, see if it ends up working out. And then if not, you can end up drafting another quarterback or bringing in another free agent to work with him. But I think that, for me, Bo Nix going to Denver would be the best fit for Bo and the best fit for the Denver Broncos. But again, we'll see if that ends up coming to fruition. Let's get to 100 and donos. Let's do it. Odin in the building. What's good? Jason Kelsey, and that news came out. So first the Mike Evans news came out, then the Russell Wilson, then the Kelsey. So again, this was going to be maybe an NFL stream, but again, a lot of that information kind of came out a little bit later and trickled out. But we will be doing some NFL live streams moving forward. I feel that is something that we should get back to doing if there's something worthy to talk about. And if there's not like that many good hockey matchups, we can do an NFL stream. I don't mind. So. And then you guys fired your coach today, Sarah was saying. And shout out to you. I did watch AEW Revolution last night to watch Sting's last final match. That pay-per-view was awesome. And obviously I knew Ospreay was going to steal the show, with Takeshita. I mean, there were so many really good matches in that, and it made me kind of remember why I fell in love with AEW. And again, some of the shows during the week for WWE and AEW aren't going to be the greatest. But usually AEW will have, 4 pay-per-views that are really big, throughout the year, and maybe they'll advance and have more and more as they get bigger and bigger. But Revolution was definitely worth the time and the effort. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I'm scrolling down here. Megan with a 50. Yeah, well, I think a lot of us already kind of knew that he was going to be cut by Denver. Obviously, it's about the money and the fit. And sometimes you can still be a good player, but if people feel that you're too much of a distraction and it's not positive, it's like you have 2 different scenarios. the Baker Mayfield situation and the Russell Wilson situation, they had similar stats and they both had something to prove. But at the end of the day, Baker Mayfield is a guy that people want to run through a wall for, and they want to play with a guy like that. For Russell Wilson, I'm not sure if anyone really wants to be his teammate. And like I said, he did some great things in Seattle. If he wasn't there, they weren't going to win a Super Bowl without him. He was a key piece. It was a team effort, right? But everything that has happened post Seahawks hasn't really been a good look for him, or for Sierra, or for his personal life, or off the field, even though he actually had a decent year for Denver last season. But again, as you guys know with people, sometimes it's more than just the stats that you're putting up on the field. It's the man and the human that you are. And if you can't be a good teammate or a good human, a lot of times people are going to be very turned off by someone that, doesn't show respect or isn't a good teammate or isn't just a good person overall. And I imagine Russell Wilson with his wife and his family and his kids and his small circle, I imagine there's some really good bonds and love and friendship there. But again, I feel, most people are turned off by him, and deservedly so. All right, baby, here we go. Yeah, Wenberg looks like he might be on the trade block. I went in and I read some more about that and a few of the other fans that were going through possible options that we may have on the trade block. And I did read something also that this is from the NHL guys on NHL Network and whatnot, but they said based on how we sit right now, and based on our schedule, even though it's a favorable schedule, they only give us about a 5 to 10% chance to make the wild card. So hopefully, with a win tonight on the road in Calgary, all right, and hopefully with maybe a move or two without getting rid of guys that we really like Turbo. I don't want to see Tanev Turbo leave, but again, it sounds like Wenberg might be the guy that they might be shopping, but no guarantee if he's going to actually be shopped or not. So we will have to wait and see. But I do appreciate you very, very much. And I know you will keep me up to date on the deadline for anything Kraken or NHL related. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. I appreciate you very, very much. But I'll tell you what, with Tampa Bay and a lot of your other favorite teams, I'm not really sure if there's anyone that even really wants Russ, even if though his stats were pretty good. I assume everyone that would be considering Russ would probably just lean towards a rookie quarterback instead, because you're going to have to pay him more money. You get a quarterback, that means you get a rookie quarterback deal, right? You don't have to pay as much money, and you're probably not going to have as many headaches on the sideline or off the field as well. And I know one guy that's incredibly happy of being able to move on, from their quarterback, Russell Wilson, is Matt Payton. And we are both Duck fans. We both think that Sean Payton would be a great mentor. So I'm hoping for your case and everyone who's a Denver Bronco fan, I hope that Bo Nix is the one that gets drafted. But the most important thing, I hope Bo Nix actually pans out wherever he goes, whether that be the Denver Broncos or any of your favorite teams. I hope he gets the proper tooling, the proper, coaching, the proper mentorship. And I hope that Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr., I hope those guys, if they don't get drafted at the top and they end up getting drafted like 5th and 6th, quarterback-wise, if you end up getting Caleb and Drake May, Jaden Daniels, J.J. McCarthy, if all those guys go off the board first, I'm still going to be really rooting for, obviously the guys that are going to be sliding a little bit in the draft. And I'm really hoping that Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. can get it done. What's good, brother? Go Ducks. I was seeing that there's a few more people that might be going over in the portal, considering Oregon and also high school All-Americans and, people that are looking at the Ducks, next year, the year after. Things are getting very bright in Eugene. Yes, $50. Let's get to a hundo. Megan, I appreciate you very, very much. She is a goat. Odin's son is a goat. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, baby. Franchise tags. Yeah, we'll do NFL stream tomorrow for sure. See, the thing is I don't think these are the two places that people have been talking about, Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Both of their names have been linked to either one of those teams or both of those teams. But if I had a choice between Russ and I had a choice between Justin Fields, Russ is a better player and a better quarterback. but it's just not a good fit. Like I said, his personality, and I just can't see that happening. So I don't think Atlanta has any interest. And honestly, they would probably be better off getting Fields. And if they don't get Fields, they can go draft a quarterback like Michael Penix Jr. And if they don't do that, then they can just stick with Ritter or Heineke for one more year and then try to get a quarterback in next year's draft. But I don't think Russell Wilson would be necessarily a fit there. But again, it is a rumor, Russ to Atlanta, Russ to Pittsburgh, Justin Fields to Pittsburgh, Justin Fields to Atlanta. But most of the rumors are Russ to Pittsburgh, Justin Fields to Atlanta. But there's no guarantee that either of these guys end up going there. Both of those teams might end up drafting a quarterback or picking up someone that we had no idea that they had interest in. So we will have to wait and see. But if it ends up being Russ to Atlanta and Fields to Pittsburgh, I don't think anyone would be that shocked, if that ends up happening. But I just don't think it would be a good fit. And I don't really think the Atlanta Falcon fan base would be that excited for Russell Wilson coming. Now, if Justin Fields comes, I think that Atlanta fans would be excited. They know that he's got limits, and they know that, he needs help. O-line, defense, good coach, good play caller, but he would have the most talent that he's ever worked with if he goes to Atlanta, but there's still no guarantee that he's going to be successful. And with Russ, I think Russ can have good touchdown interception ratio from now into the end of his career, depending on when he retires. But I mean, you're not going to go to any more Super Bowls. You're not winning any more Super Bowls. At this point, you're going to be a, top 20 quarterback, and you might not even be a top 16. I mean, stats wise, you're going to be looking at like a top, 12, top 14 quarterback stats wise. But overall, he'll be probably, in the upper half, but kind of in the middle. I think most people would have Russell Wilson kind of in the middle of the pack. Sometimes he plays good and he'll play like a top 10 quarterback for a game or two throughout the season. But a majority of the time, it feels like he'll be playing like a top 15 or a top 20. Oh! 1-0 Kraken. Yes, baby. Yes, let's go. I'm just scrolling down here. Yeah, and then also Snead with that information as well with a non-exclusive tag, which means they're essentially tagging him, but it could be like a tag and trade, depending on what they have going on. And we've seen them, move on from guys, like Ward, and then being able to draft a guy, like McDuffie, and then to replace the corners. So they've been going heavy on corner. So if they decide to get rid of them and draft another one, it wouldn't shock me. But I think Snead proved himself last year. So hopefully that the Chiefs, can work it out with him. Because if they didn't have Snead last year, they wouldn't have won the Super Bowl. They wouldn't even have gotten possibly to the Super Bowl without Snead. That's how good he was on that side of the ball. Remember, the Chiefs normally have a top 15 defense. This year, top 5. And for a majority of the year, they were number 2, number 3 for a good chunk of the season. So, hopefully they can get him back. But if not, we'll have to go and see what happens next. Yanni Gord, baby, assisted by Brandon Tanev, Turbo, and Vince Dunn. Yanni. Yes. Let's go. 1-0 Kraken. And I'm going to get through the rest of the comments, and we'll get Megan some photos too. Nice job, Yanni. And sometimes you need that guy to step up. You don't really know who it's going to be. Hey, defend the deep, release the Kraken, drop the anchor. Bowie loves it. Headbang it, clap it, swing the towel, baby. Let's go. Defend the deep, release the Kraken. 1-0 Seattle. Let's go. And then I had to go out of my way, and I went through a few more images, and I finally got another crew to come through that I was happy with. So it ended up turning out pretty damn good. I got to be able to get as many Kraken players with the thumbs like I do with the Mariners. So. Yeah, and also with Kirk Cousins, let's be honest, the Vikings are the most, easy spot for him to go back to if they want him. But again, coming off that injury, how many teams would really feel comfortable with Kirk Cousins being their quarterback? Like, based off the injury, not based off who he is and his stat line. He's awesome. He's got a great family. I feel he's underrated. He's better than Carr. He was better than Tannehill. He's a guy that is like cusp top 10 quarterback. He's always going to be sitting somewhere between 10, 11, 12. right? But a lot of times, he's not the most popular quarterback, and yeah, he sometimes struggles in prime time. But you saw how shitty the Minnesota Vikings were without him, and he was, able to put up huge stats, for many many years with no offensive line. And then now you see these other quarterbacks like, coming in and they had flashes, but it really showed you how shitty Minnesota was without Kirk Cousins, and that was a big part of the success with the team. And it doesn't help when Jay Jetta got hurt either. So we will see. But I'm not sure how many other teams have interest in Kirk besides Minnesota, honestly, because we haven't heard his name linked to any other team. And any other team, if they were interested, it sounds like they would be rather wanting to go for a rookie quarterback so they don't have to pay Kirk the money, especially with the risk coming off a season ending injury, which kind of makes sense. But I think Minnesota is willing to do it because they respect him. He's been there. He's put in the work. And as long as, he's rehab completely with the Achilles, I think he'll be fine. 1-0 Kraken. And I actually busted out my Sting figure last night. I got it here right in front of me. I got a couple Sting figures here. One of my favorite Sting figures, and I only have one loose one. It's a Wolfpack NWO figure from the mid to late 90s. But these are awesome whenever you get stuff that, you squeeze the leg and then it poses. But, I mean, sick. It's got the whole scorpion look. It's got the NWO. Awesome. And then I got the one that Odin's son sent me as a gift. He sent me Kenny Omega. He sent me Chris Jericho as well as a Sting. And I remember when he sent it to me, and I was thinking to myself, all the different options for wrestlers, because I think some people wouldn't appreciate, maybe a later Sting figure as much if there was another option for another wrestler. But I've always been a Sting guy, a little Stinger, watched him. And, you got to think a guy that was in, NWA and NJPW and WCW and WWE and fucking AEW. I mean, the guy's literally been everywhere. And to be able to watch Revolution last night, I know Odin watched it as well. I mean, I know a lot of times when people are like, well, if I got to pay 50 or 60 bucks, it may not be worth it. Remember, there's also, links and other ways to be able to get it done. But that was actually one of the more enjoyable pay-per-views through AEW that I've seen. And I really am happy that they moved the Samoa Joe championship match from last to Sting's, and they switched it because they were promoting Sting was going to be the last match. Then on air, but about 30 minutes before, Renee was like, okay, the Samoa Joe match is going to be the main event. And people were a little confused. And then I think Tony Khan and the group, they ended up, kind of discussing it. You can't end a show, right, with a significance of Sting, who's been wrestling for 40 years, literally since I was like 1 year old. And, he ended up retiring yesterday. So I thought that they did a great job with everything. And if anyone on social media saw Darby go through that fucking glass, oh my God, watching that live, oh man. I think people in my neighborhood probably heard me when I was watching some of those matches. And Takeshita, oh my God, Ospreay. I mean, those are the type of things that I need to be able to hold me over. Right, if I can't have Kenny Omega. The closest thing to Kenny Omega is Ospreay, based off athleticism and entertainment value, in my opinion. And they did not disappoint. The pay-per-view overall was pretty fucking good. It was very similar to like some of these WWE pay-per-views that we've been seeing that have been gaining some steam as of late. So, or I'm scrolling down. I'm a little behind in the comments, so I apologize, but I want to get to everyone there. 1-0 Kraken. We'll get Megan's photos up here in just a second. Not JT in the building. What's good? How are you? What's good with you, brother? What's on the menu for dinner tonight? Darby is a modern day Mick Foley. You know what I mean? Darby is a guy that, there's a lot of like original characters, that are out there in wrestling, like Orange Cassidy. But Orange Cassidy and what he does compared to what Darby Allin does is completely different. Orange Cassidy, has a type of swagger, vibe, or as the kids would call it, Riz. And he's got that kind of quality where he can put his hands, in his pockets and still wrestle and give you something you've never seen before, which I really appreciate and love. And I think those are two of the most original, guys that you're able to see. even with Darby with the face paint, but to be able to be linked up with Sting, to be able to have Sting mentor him, and to be able to have them be a tag, so that way Sting's career is relevant. Darby took maybe a little bit of a hit singles wise by doing it with Sting and doing the tag team thing, but I think it worked out great for both. And Darby is a fucking icon. Darby is a legend. And let's be honest, out of everyone in wrestling, no matter what profession that we're talking about, there is no one else on planet Earth that would be able to put himself through that much damage and carnage besides Mick Foley and maybe New Jack. And, like I said, this is the modern day New Jack, the modern day Mick Foley. Darby is incredible. And again, the guy goes to the hospital, it seems like every couple days. And he is a real OG. He makes me have AEW vibes. And when I get AEW vibes, and then it goes from AEW vibes to what? To what? Not WCW, right? Right? But what are we talking about? You already know ECW vibes. And when I get that ECW vibe, I'm a happy man. So it was awesome. Great pay-per-view. Great spots for him, too. Yeah, let me know what's going on Monday Night Raw for the people that have been watching it for the last 2 hours or so. Keep me updated. I can't wait. I'm happy for you. That's going to be exciting. You're going to be playing a lot of games, online gaming, left and right. Judah in the building. What's good? Boston doing their magic today, huh? 4-1 over the Maple Leafs. I see you. How are you, Judah? 6 shots on goal for the Kraken, 0 for the Flames. 10 minutes has gone by, and this is exactly what Seattle needed on the road. And both of our records are kind of similar. Calgary actually has a better record than us, but just slightly. But I think that we're a better team than them. But again, the way that we've been playing is so hot and cold. You can play great and bring it, everything that you got, like when we played Boston, right? We give you a playoff type of atmosphere and a playoff type of result, right? And then you can end up, a couple games later playing like a bottom feeder, and then we just get our ass kicked for a team that is similar to us record wise. So, no, yeah, I think you were mentioning it a little bit. How's it going? Congrats on that. Yeah, Yanni Gord with the first goal right out of the gates. We've been very aggressive. Yeah, I'm keeping my eyes out. I'm watching. I'm looking. All right, man. Love you and I appreciate you, brother. I'm almost getting caught up now. Yeah, you never know, what's going to happen game in and game out. Also injuries or who's in net can play a big part of it too, as you guys know, as well as being hockey fans. And NASCAR was great. Larson getting that dub. Like I said, I wish we had enough fans that love NASCAR as much as me, so I could actually do NASCAR streams on Sundays. But I definitely watched the full race, with Paisley, and I love it, man. Like I said, I'm itching for baseball, but NASCAR definitely fills that hole for me for football, at least temporarily, to have something to look forward to on Sundays to watch since it's only once a week. All right, I'll check it out real quick here. How you like that picture that I sent you with fucking Mike Bellotti with the gray hair, gray white hair? I almost didn't recognize him. And then you had Rich Brooks in there, the original OG Duck coach, who actually looks younger than Bellotti. Bellotti is definitely letting the hair, have the natural color, which he doesn't look bad, but he just looks a little bit more aged than I anticipated in the photo. And then we got our guy in the middle, Dan Lanning. But I figured that would be a cool photo to share with you. That was through Rich. So Rich Brooks, our old school coach from the 80s and 90s, before Pilati took over, around 94, 95 times. So John in the building. What's good, John? How are you? You got a shootout in Philly? Nice. You got any new information on the Cardinals for me? Have you been watching? Grapefruit, the Cactus League. Have you been watching? What's going on with the Cardinals? Give me some updates on who's looking good, who's looking bad. I know a lot of us are waiting for that baseball to get going. And thank you for sharing, Sarah. I appreciate that as well. 7 minutes to go in the first period. 7 shots on goal for the Kraken, and we're scrapping out there. I like this effort and this energy. I wish we could play like this all the time, but again, sometimes you have to wait for an opponent that's a little bit shittier, or maybe we find a nice rhythm early on. But again, if we were playing, a high end team, we're probably not up necessarily 1-0 with this type of aggressiveness. Still looking out for that the tie. Still haven't seen it. Let me know what you want to do, Megan, for photos. Let me know. And then we have free agency sightings. Start tomorrow? Sarah said. So we might be able to do an NFL stream tomorrow. And I want to be able to trickle in some more NFL streams. If there's not a good hockey matchup, we can still continue to do NFL information. And I can throw up photos and we can discuss. And I can always have a hockey game in the background on if we decide to go that route. So, like we did a stream on Saturday going over good fits, great fits, best fits, and I had a lot of fun. And it ended up being a 4-hour stream, and hell, it felt only like 2 hours. So I do enjoy talking about the NFL probably the most out of anything. NFL and college football and wrestling. So not that I don't enjoy talking baseball or hockey or NASCAR. I love those things as well. But again, even though football season, the games are over, but for us fans, as we know, it never ends. It's 365, 24/7 if you are a fanatic. Let's see what we got here. Avalanche 2, Blackhawks 0, Bruins 4, Maple Leafs 1 with the final, Panthers 4, Rangers 2 final, Blues 2, Flyers 1 in a shootout, as John said. Blue Jackets 6, Golden Knights 3. That is shocking. Okay. And then let's go tomorrow. We got Panthers Devils, Blue Jackets Penguins, Oilers Bruins. Ooh, that will be good. Blues Islanders, Canadians Predators. We got the Kraken versus the Jets. That's definitely a game that will be tough. I don't know how that's going to pan out. That one could get ugly. And then Blackhawks, Coyotes, Canucks and Kings, Stars and Sharks. So we'll probably do an NFL stream tomorrow based off the moves. And if we decide not to, for whatever reason, then we're going to do the Kraken and the Jets. But we'll probably do the stream for the free agency tomorrow at the same time. So we'll start it at probably 5 p.m. Pacific. So that way when the Kraken game starts, that I can watch that while we talk about the NFL, and hopefully we don't get our ass kicked. It could get really, really ugly. I hope not, but I have to be realistic. So Baby Blues, okay, I got you. Oh, free agency starts next Monday. Okay. I know I saw a timeline on all the dates, with all the things like this date is this, and then, how many days we have until this, and then the combine, and then this, and then this, and then this, and the draft, and, and all that. So what's going on tomorrow? Tomorrow is the first day of what that a team can verbally say that they're going to sign with the team, but things don't end up getting official till next week. What's the timeline for tomorrow? Only tags are tomorrow. Okay. But the sad thing is that we already know who the tags are going to be. So we actually need to wait till next week, where actually free agency, where things get kind of heated up. Because I would assume 90% of the people that we think is going to get the tag is going to get the tag. There's not a lot of options because, a lot of times where you have like two players and it could be one or the other, by elimination of subtraction, a lot of those names have already kind of shuffled to the top. But again, we may get a surprise, from a team or two, but I would assume most of the teams that have been rumored that they're going to tag this particular player, that's what it's going to be. I know they're not going to tag Baker. They're tagging Antoine Winfield Jr. So, it is what it is, but I guess, we'll figure it out tomorrow. We'll either do that, or we'll end up doing the Kraken. Yeah, 0 shots on goal. Again, I was going to go over that, but they're definitely getting bullied right now. And sometimes when I watch Kraken games, it's like this, where we don't even have a shot on goal, for the first 10 to 12 minutes. And then eventually you would assume Calgary will end the period with at least a couple. But Tanev just got drilled in the back trying to save that goal and give Grew some assistance. Turbo going to the locker room. I hope he's okay. That one looked like that slap shot was like 100 miles an hour, too. So he was limping. And I don't think there was any padding like they said. So he probably got a real big strawberry raspberry, the shape of a puck on his back. So I'm hoping Turbo is okay. Godric in the building. What's good? Good save. Yeah, I was reading that too. They gave us a 5 to 10% for the Kraken to make the wild card. So not very good, but I mean we deserve that. I mean at this point we haven't really been a consistent team, and obviously it starts in net, and if Grew played better early on, yeah, I think we would probably, obviously it's more than just Grew, but just the simple fact that Grew wasn't playing good, we weren't really playing with a lot of chemistry and charisma and togetherness, and we were getting beat up by the good teams. We were getting beat up by the bad teams. And then, after Grew went out, DeCord came in, and he was hot, hot, hot. We won the Winter Classic against the Vegas Golden Knights. He had a couple shutouts, and now Grew is back to his old self, looking great. And he's been hot, hot, hot the last 4 starts, and I think we're going to win tonight, so it'll be 5. But it might come to who we trade for, during the trade deadline. Megan will keep us updated on that with all that news. But it will really come down to the trade deadline and then hoping that we can end up beating the teams that we're supposed to. And hopefully we can beat a couple teams that we're not, based on how they've played this season. And if we can steal a couple, and if we can do that, then we're going to have a very small fraction of a chance to make it. But it's pretty fair to say that we most likely will not make the playoffs this year. It's been a hard, rough year, but again, we're not going to be able to be a team that's going to make it every single year consistently. We're not depth-wise there yet. And again, we've only been in existence for a couple years. So, and obviously, when we ended up making the playoffs and beating Colorado and then getting eliminated by Dallas, that might have been a year early. And sometimes that ends up happening when you end up not expecting anything, and then you make the playoffs all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, and you're overachieving. And sometimes, teams in the NFL and the NHL, NBA, MLB, where you're kind of a new team or you're young and it doesn't really look like you're gonna make it, and then you just get hot and everything comes together perfectly. Coach that team up well, and we overachieved. And then now, as we're kind of seeing after that, we want to get back to the playoffs. But again, it may be one of those things where until we get the right pieces, we might only make the playoffs like once every 3 to 4 years instead of like every 1 to 2 years. And I know we'll get to that point, I'm hoping, but the West is very deep, as everyone knows. You're going to have to get past Colorado, Vegas, Dallas. I mean, there's so many good teams in the West. If Seattle was in the East, it'd be much easier for us, I feel, to be able to gain ground. But it is what it is. It's going to make us battle tested. And even though it is a small percentage, as Snupper said, we still got a shot. It's still not, we're not eliminated. But 5 to 10% isn't great, but at least it's something. I wish that number was a little bit higher to the 20 to 25%, but we dug ourselves into this hole and we have to get ourselves out of it. So, Kraken, baby. All right, let's get some photos up here for Megan. And make sure you take care of your mental health. It's very, very important. If you're just hopping in, Yanni Gord got that nice goal for us early on. And it felt good to be able to get that lead early, 4:04, assisted by Brandon Turbo, Danev, and Vince Dunn. And I like Vince on how he's so involved every single game. Now there's about 4, 5, 6 games where he's been involved either in a goal himself or assisting or just being a factor to help us win. And I like the way that Vince has been playing as of late. Turbo is always the guy that's going to be our tough bruiser, Mr. Authority. You're going to talk shit. You're going to get punched in the mouth by him. He'll be that enforcer for us. I love him. And it's nice to be able to see a lower name guy like Yanni compared to some of the others, get us going. It may not be, Maddie, or it may not be Bjorky. It may not be more of the popular guys that get us going, but we're still going to need those guys to contribute to be able to get it done. We got less than 5 minutes to go. Let's go, Gru. I'm prepping photos for you right now, and we'll get those once we get into the intermission here. Less than 4 minutes to go. 8 shots on goal for the Kraken, only 1 for the Flames. And I know that sometimes, the Flames will bring their A game, and sometimes they just get beat up, right? And they get dominated. Seattle's been there too, right? But I'm trying to remember how many games Seattle has played where they've had 1 or 0 shots on goal this late in the first period. I mean, I've seen it where we've had a low number, but not this low. So, but again, this is almost the most aggressive I've seen Seattle on the road in a minute. And again, they know this is a winnable game. This isn't like playing the Boston Bruins, where they're one of the top teams in the NHL. Even though Calgary's got a similar record to us, I feel we're much better than them. But again, we still have to be able to be aggressive. Gru has got to give up 3 goals or less. And in this particular game, he's going to have a shot for a shutout. So, and again, if we can get Gru a couple shutouts before we get to that quote unquote decision time, if we end up making the playoffs or not, I think that every shutout or every game he only gives up 1 or 2 will give us more and more momentum. And that's really what you want, out of your, goalkeeper and your goaltender there. You want to make sure that the goalie is going to, have good rhythm. You want to make sure that he's healthy. And when you look at his agility from left to right, he seems like he's pretty fucking healthy, and he seems happy. He seems like all the mentals are locked and loaded. So I'm really liking the way that Gru has stepped up, coming back from the physical injury and maybe a little bit of, beaten up mentally too. So, and I don't necessarily feel horrible, for Joey Decord. He did his job as the backup and then became the starter and was lights out. But again, as much as I love Joey, right, and what he was able to provide for us while Gru was down, you got to have the best guy in net. And there is no question putting in Decord now would be stupid. You want to go with the guy that's got the hot hand, and we already know that's Gru. And it wouldn't really surprise me if we don't see Joey that much the rest of the season, unless they want to give Gru a day off, or obviously if he gets hurt. But, you're not going to be seeing as much as Joey as we did before when Gru was injured. So, but I wouldn't mind seeing him sprinkled in here and there, just to make sure if, Gru does get injured and he has to miss a game or two, that Joey still feels comfortable in net with the rhythm with the other teammates. But I like the way that Gru has been playing, and hopefully Gru will play the rest of the regular season, as the starter, which I assume he will, as long as he doesn't get injured, and as long as he doesn't go on a big slump, which I don't think he will. And I'm liking what I'm seeing. Less than 2 minutes to go. And then the only one that's on the trade block deadline right now is Wenberg, it sounds like. And but obviously there'll probably other names that will be discussed. But as long as it makes our team better, you know. But I'll tell you what, if there was one guy that I definitely wouldn't want to be traded from the team that isn't one of the popular, as far as like top guys like Bjorky or Maddie, is Turbo. I don't want Tanev to go at all because, like I said, we don't have any other player like him. He's the enforcer. So I hope that they're smart enough to realize that that's a guy that you don't want to get rid of whatsoever. So, wow, what a save. Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Get him motivated. I know you did. Markstrom with the save. 1-0 Kraken. 10 shots on goal, now 11. This is probably the most dominant 11-2 first period. As far as aggressiveness, that I've seen, a lot of times, the Kraken are the ones that have to be in like defense mode, where I see, like 3 players from the other team just chopping away. And again, when you got 3 guys right by the net, you're not going to be able to block every single attempt when you got 3 players right there in your face. So it's nice to see that it's, the opposite now. Like we are making it difficult for Calgary at home, and I love it. And plus, the Flames won the first 2 games in Seattle, so we need to make sure that we win this one. We won the last matchup 2 days after Christmas, 2-1, but we lost the first 2 games, 6-3 and 4-3 at home. So this is payback. This is personal, even though both of our teams aren't the greatest right now, but this is a must-win situation. You can't lose to Calgary, if you think that you have any slight chance, because then our playoff chances are going to go from 5 to 10% to like 2% if you can't even fucking beat Calgary. No disrespect, but it's just the reality. All right, end of the first period, 1-0 Kraken, and it wasn't as dominant as like a 3-0 first period, but just, the body language and the passing and just being aggressive right out of the gates. That's what you need, and like I said, sometimes we don't see this type of Kraken team in this first period until like late second period or third period when we're trying to play catch up. So I love the way that we started, and hopefully we can continue this and we can end up getting a shutout for Grew, and we can end up winning 3-0, a goal per period, I'm hoping is what we potentially could get, or even more. All right, let's get some photos up here for Megan. I appreciate you. Shout out to Yanni. All right, what Kraken do we want to go to? We got that Kraken, open Kraken, closed Kraken, anchor Kraken, graphic Kraken. Kraken. Oh, he loves it. Let's go. 1-0 Seattle. Let's go. Let's go, Hack. Nice job, Grew. And again, everything starts from net. As long as the net is being protected, the offense, eventually, you're going to have good games and you're going to have bad games. But, if you don't have good protection in net, you're not going to win any game whatsoever, unless for whatever reason, he gives up 5 goals, the other goalie gives up 5, and then we go to a shootout and we win 6-5. And we do have some games that are like that, where both goalies are names, but the offenses are just on fire, and then you still end up giving up, 4 or 5 goals, and you feel kind of shitty for Grew, but we end up getting the dub, and we, kind of find a way. But again, I want to be able to see Grew limit 3 goals or less every single game the rest of the way. And if he can do that for the most part, that's going to put us in a great position to win every single game, even against the upper echelon NHL teams. Because again, it's not like, we can't beat a team like Judah's Boston, Bruins. And again, some of these teams that we match up against are going to be much better than us, but we just have to be able to play up to the competition and not play down to the competition like we would be playing if we were losing this game right now to Calgary. Let's go, handsome guy. Look at him. Let me know what's going on Monday Night Raw if anybody's watching. Give me updates on NHL. Give me updates on NFL. Give me the updates on MLB. Give me updates in wrestling. Handsome guy. And I really like his leadership. You know, you can definitely learn a lot about your team based on the head coach or, you know, GM or coordinators that you have on the NFL side. And also, obviously, on the MLB side, on the NHL side. You know, if you actually have a guy that is respected, a guy that's smart, a guy that's likable, a guy that's a player coach, but then also can be firm when he needs to be. I mean, I couldn't think of any other person that I would want to, you know, have this, you know, squad run the way that we want to run. And I want to make sure that we keep this guy for a long, long time. And I really hope we do. I hope this guy ends up being, you know, our guy, you know, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 8 years from now, 10 years from now. You know, because if we want to end up winning something big like the Stanley Cup, I couldn't think of a better guy to do it than Pat, baby. He don't look bad with like a mustache, beard, you know, but he definitely looks more young and clean cut and sharp, you know, obviously with no mustache or goatee. Very dapper. He's got the Riz. He got it, man. You know, you can just tell by looking at certain coaches, you know, if they got the it factor or not. You know, and it's not like he can go out there himself and, you know, go in net or, you know, to be able to get goals for us. But, you know, I think that, you know, liking your guy that you have is very important, you know, and again, that you wonder why certain teams end up being so dysfunctional sometimes when they have like a lot of elite or good players, but the coach is just not the right fit. You know, it's a team effort. You got to be able to make sure you have the right mentors that are teaching properly, but also I just have to, you know, have someone that can understand players and have that chemistry, and we got one. Yeah. So, Megan, for your Xbox that you got, did you just get Call of Duty? Like, what is coming in your bundle? Like, you have what? Did you get an extra controller? How many games did you end up buying, or did you get a bundle that comes with a game or two? Did you just get Call of Duty, Xbox, and an extra controller? Like, what it was the bundle that you talked about getting? Is that actually what you ended up buying, or did you modify it? Make sure you're taking care of your mental health. You know, there'll even be times, you know, for me and others where, you know, everyone on the outside might think everything is just great, everything is just peaches and cream, but, you know, well, everyone will go through, you know, different things. And if you can win the battle with your own mind, that's like really the biggest thing. If you can find a way to understand that it's not as good as maybe you think it is, and maybe it's not as bad as you think it is, and you can kind of keep even keel where, you know, you can be excited about things, you know, but, you know, you don't want to get too crazy about it. And you can also have a bad day, but you don't want to get yourself so deep in the gutter where you feel you're never going to be able to climb out. You know, and again, you know, I will always make sure that this is a safe place for people that talk sports and wrestling, as well as mental health or anything else that we want to go over in pop culture. And remember, if things aren't, you know, going the greatest, make sure you speak up and talk to someone, you know, whether it privately with me on here or, you know, in the room, or, you know, someone in your life, you know, face to face. But again, you know, sometimes it's tough to being able to talk about things with just anybody. And again, you know, if anyone ever needs to message me, you know, on a direct message through Instagram or Twitter/X, I am accessible. So, and again, I don't ignore people. So if anything else comes up like that, make sure you reach out to your boy. I will be here. me see here. Console, controller, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and 6-month Game Pass. Oh, nice. Well, and that's the game that you've been wanting for a long, long time. So then it'll give you a chance to practice, have fun. And then when you're not on a stream with Brandon in the 12, or if you're not on a stream with us here, then you'll be able to have a lot of fun with that. So I'm happy for you. And sometimes, you do need to treat yourself. You got to do that, whatever way that is. So I'm happy for you. And I can understand why that might be a kind of a triggering thing. So, in reality, as we know, when we end up having certain triggers, it's not going to go away. The trigger will still come, right? But the thing is if you can handle it mentally a little bit better, like knowing it's coming, and then also putting yourself in a position to watch movies or TV or music, or to hang around people like us or Brandon here or there, to put yourself in a better position to win, or online game with people, to take your mind off of that particular thing. It's not going to go away completely, but if you can put it on the back of your mind for the, temporarily, and get into something positive that'll make you feel good, make you smile, make you happy, that's what it's about. So I'm happy for you. All right, let me delete some of these other photos. And then any other players on the Kraken, or is there any Seahawk draft picks, any Seahawk players, or anything else that you want? In the time being here, I'm going to throw up some Sting, because he had his last match last night. So I figured I didn't get a chance to do a stream because I watched NASCAR last night. And then I was thinking about doing an NFL stream, but I wanted to watch Revolution. So me and Odin watched a Revolution. So it was a packed day yesterday of watching NASCAR. Congratulations to Kyle Larson and Hendrick Motorsports. It's the 4th straight win they've had at that track. Obviously, at this time period for the early meeting for that track. So we already know that they dominate there. And then, man, what can you say? AEW Revolution. It was on par to the WWE pay-per-views that we've seen as of late. It was awesome. Let's try to throw up a little thing here. And again, I've been a very hardcore fan, from the NWO days, from the the Surfer Sting with the blonde hair and the red, white, blue face paint. I have like comics of him, and I remember him. He was the Hulk Hogan in WCW. Is pretty much what it was. He was the main guy there, and then obviously as NWO got created, they had to have someone go against. But then you knew eventually he was going to join, either the Black and White or the Wolfpack. And this is one of my favorite wrestling figures that's out of the package, because a lot of these Toy Biz ones that came out in the NWO era, I have Hollywood Hogan, I got Sting, I got Kevin Nash, I got Scott Hall on my dresser as well. But all of them have movable parts when you squeeze the legs, which is fucking cool. And you can move them around in different positions and whatnot. But wrestling figures like this, to me, this is the top of the top. I love figures that can move, and it's cool where you have like elite figures where you can pose them a certain way, or if they come with like multiple heads, multiple hands, a belt, a bat, or whatever it may be. But sometimes just the simplicity of a figure made well, you can't put a price on greatness like that. And then get the thing here. A happy retirement to Sting, and I am so happy I got to watch that live. I was thinking to myself, I even watched the fucking free AEW YouTube pre-show for 30 minutes to an hour before. I never do that. I'm never watching even if I love AEW, I'm not watching the pre. If there's matches, I'll watch it sometimes, but I'm not going out of my way typically. So 40 years in the business, baby. Let's go, baby. Tony Schiavone, baby. I got a lot of figures, but this is the only Sting pig figure I got, in the package. But it was a gift from Odin's son. I got a Chris Jericho in the package, a Kenny Omega Series 1 in the package, and a Sting. And the box is awesome. Figure is uber detailed, comes with a bat. Pretty cool. Shout out to Odin's son for being Odin. All right, 1-0 Kraken. Anything else that you want to be able to see? Do you go all in mid-game on the Kraken? Yes, 100%. We are winning this game. I don't see any scenario in this matchup. Yeah, in hockey and in any sport, of course they could come back and we could lose. But just based on, vibe and the way that we played in the first period and my gut and the sports gods, and like I said, if I was going to bet on this game, there's some games I wouldn't recommend betting on at all. Zero. I'd be like, no, right? And then sometimes, we might end up winning and, people lose out on money. But with this one, I would say this is a pretty safe bet. Going against a team that's not very good, kind of like us, even though we're on the road, we're playing well. Gru has been hot for the last 4 games. So, yeah, if I'm a bettings man, I would say not only are we going to win this game, I think that there is a small chance that we get a shutout, and I feel that we have a very good chance to get 2 to 4 goals by the time it's all done. I mean, we could get a 1 goal per period. We might end up winning like 3-1. It might end up being low scoring, and it might end up being 2-1, or something of that nature. Or hopefully it ends up being the score that I hope. I hope it ends up being 2-0 or 3-0, and Gru gets that shutout. But, I would say, I don't know how much you're planning on betting, 10 or 20 bucks, but I think it would be a pretty safe bet, and I would be shocked if the Flames come back and beat us, just based on how they played in that, first period. So anything is possible, right? We know anything can happen, but, if you're going to do a bet, this would be the game to bet on out of the last, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. So. Yeah, Xavier Worthy was crazy, but also too, as good as Xavier Worthy's, time was, and he broke the record, awesome. But if you go back and look at the list of all the top 10 guys that are the fastest guys, a lot of them don't pan out in the NFL. So it's cool, and congratulations, Xavier Worthy. You were at Texas. You only weigh like 165 pounds, 170, 175 pounds. It's usually 165 to like 175. He's very light. Right? And, like with John Ross, from UW, he ended up having the record. But again, sometimes guys that end up breaking the record, they're just too small. So it's like cool that they did that, but it's like, I'm not sure if I would necessarily draft a guy like that. He would have to put on a lot of weight. I know he's got a lot of skills, and I watched him in college, right? But damn, when you're like not that tall and you only weigh like 165 and you're going to be going to the NFL. We saw how good DeAnthony Thomas was, Black Mamba for the Ducks. But again, sometimes when you're small and you're fast, sometimes it'll work out if you can gain 20, 30 pounds of muscle, but if you can't, you might just be a guy that ended up winning, the fastest time in, the 40. I hope the best for him, but I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up being a bust or not being as good as maybe projected. But for Jackson Powers and Brock Bowers, those guys have a chance to be like Hall of Fame players. So I stand by that. More Jackson Powers because, I've watched his whole career, and what he is, and he's like a Penei Sewell. The only thing that's going to, downplay him is, if he ends up having some serious season-ending injuries, but hopefully that never happens. And then for Bowers, he's got a skill set to be like a Sam Laporta. right? But if he wants to make sure he doesn't turn into a Kyle Pitts, where he's like a top 5, top 10, top 15 kind of guy, obviously Bowers, as good as he is, normally in a normal draft, right, Bowers would go a lot higher if we didn't have so many quarterbacks in this draft. Like in a normal other draft, if there's not so much hype with quarterbacks, like 5, 6 that could go in the first or second round, Bowers is good enough to be picked in a normal draft, somewhere between probably 5 to 15. But since we have so many quarterbacks and offensive linemen and wide receivers, his stock will drop a little bit just because we have so many other positions that are in need. But there is a very good chance that he pans out, and I hope he does. And I hope he ends up being like the next Sam Laporta. So that way we have another tight end that we can get excited about in fantasy football. So that way that if you don't get Travis Kelce, you don't get Mark Andrews, you don't get George Kittle, and you don't get Sam Laporta, and then Brock Bowers pans out, right? Then Brock Bowers can be the guy that you're like, yes, I waited to draft a tight end, but even though it's kind of maybe a luck of the draw, or you're hoping that it pans out, usually you're going to have a rookie or two at tight end, running back, and wide receiver that ends up being a top 10 player at their position in their rookie year. So I'll be very interested to see what happens. And we can throw up photos of those guys if you like. But again, I could definitely see Seattle, using both of those guys, and it would be exciting. Of course, Jackson Powers would help out, I think more short-term and long-term. But again, as long as you address the offensive line after Bowers, because again, 3 out of those 5 starters may or may not be there in a year or two with their contracts up, and obviously looking to upgrade the position and have better offensive linemen. The better offensive linemen Seattle has, the better they're going to do against San Francisco and the Rams, and it'll give them a better chance to win the NFC West. But also, too, Seattle really hasn't had a top tight end. I mean, have they ever really had a top 5 tight end ever? So it would be kind of exciting. It would be something brand new to Seattle to actually say, look at us. We actually have a Pro Bowl, all-pro tight end in Brock Bowers. And if you get a guy like that, not only is that going to make Geno's job easier as well as McDonald, but it's going to make everyone's job easier moving forward. So either way you go, it's going to be a home run. Hopefully you pick one of those 2 players, Jackson Powers Johnson or Brock. But the only problem with picking Brock over Powers or any other offensive lineman, it would be because, you got 3 guys out of 5 that may or may not be there. So it seems like offensive line and defensive line are the priority. You've got to address both of those. And the better that Seattle gets on O-line and D-line, and if they can get the right pieces at the right time, at the right price, and they can pick correctly and get good free agents and draft well, then, like I said, that'll be the day where they get closer to getting to the Niners level. And then it also will separate themselves from not only the Cardinals, but separating themselves from the Rams, because it feels like you and the Rams are kind of butting heads for that second place in the division. But you're not that far behind San Fran. San Fran is amazing. But again, an injury or two, you won't be that far behind. If San Francisco wins 11 to 13 games, it's not crazy to think that Seattle or Los Angeles could win 10 or 12 games if they have the right people at the right time and they can stay injury-free, and make the right moves at the appropriate time moving forward. So it's not like Seattle and Los Angeles are that far behind, even though it seems like it to most people. You have an injury or two to Kittle or Debo, or with Bosa, and then you can make up, a couple wins, with that. So Megan with a 50. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, with a little cactus jack. Bang, 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 bang. Megan's making sure that we hit the goal by herself. Will anyone else join her on the dono train? I appreciate you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's going to be needed. Obviously, I got a visit for Paisley to the vet. I'm going to be getting her dog food tomorrow, which is $80. Thank you, Odin's son, a couple days ago for coming through, as well as Chief Will Chief. So I got to go get her nails trimmed. I have to wash her. So that'll be $35 tomorrow. I got to spend like 80 to 83 on dog food for her. So I do appreciate that. And every little amount or big amount that we get is going to be going towards bills. So I can continue doing the stream or Paisley. So thank you. And I have that vet visit sometime I have to schedule this month or next month. And then she has a couple of shots that she needs to get, just based off her, transitioning from a baby, and now she's 2.5. And then just an overall checkup. So I imagine the visit will cost like $150 to $200. So we'll have to grind, and hopefully we'll be able to get some support at some point of the month or early part of next month or sometime this month. So that way I can get that done for her. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. You're a godsend. You're a goat. And I appreciate you more than words can say. The thing is Bowers isn't really needed. It's more of like a luxury pick. Again, offensive line is 100% the most needed spot besides D-line. O-line and D-line. You got to make sure you firm those up, but based off 3 out of the 5 with the contracts coming up, may or may not be there in a year or two. They're going to be making a lot of drastic changes in the first 3 years with McDonald and trying to rebuild this. I believe they're going to try to rebuild the Seattle Seahawks like the Baltimore Ravens. So they're going to try to create an AFC Baltimore Raven on the NFC Seattle Seahawks. And they're still going to be, Seattle, right? But I think you're going to start to see certain players, maybe former Baltimore Raven players that are on the team now or were on the team where McDonald was there. He'll start plucking certain guys that fit his scheme. Hack on the screen right now, blue undershirt, light blue, and he's got a blue and white tie with little designs on it. So he's got the royal blue, kind of bluish, purplish tie, and he's got a little light blue, and he's got the gray blazer looking fresh and clean. Yeah, but I think, like I said, Jackson Powers, has a better chance to me being a Hall of Famer and to be a Pro Bowl, All-Pro guy year one. I think with Brock Bowers, it may take a year or two for him to get going, depending on, if he gets used like Kyle Pitts and Desmond Ridder on Atlanta, where you might have to wait a couple years and the right quarterback for Bowers to get going, or if he ends up going to a mid-level team or a good team that has a quarterback and a good schemer, then you might be able to get someone like Jared Goff and the Goffins and Sam Laporta. And then if you get that, then that'll pay big dividends. But think about this: if you draft Brock Bowers and the offensive line situation doesn't get addressed, Brock Bowers isn't going to be able to get the football because Gino is not going to have time, or Drew Lock, or whoever it is, because they're not going to be able to run effectively, and he's not going to be able to go through his progressions. And again, third down will be a check down to Bowers, and you can make design plays for him. But again, you still got DK, you still got JSN, you still got Lockett, you still got Kenneth Walker III, you still got Charbonnet. So even if you draft Bowers, what is he on the priority list? He's still going to be sitting at like probably 4th option over some of the other guys like Kenneth Walker, DK, Lockett, and then you're probably thinking he'll be somewhere between Lockett and him. I would assume he'll be 3rd or 4th option if you used him correctly. If you don't use Bowers correctly, then he'll be a guy that's used like 6th option. Where he'll get used, but he's just not going to get targeted that much. Like he might only get, like 3 targets a game or 4, and then you have to hope that he gets a red zone target to make it worthwhile. So the only way that Bowers is going to be able to be his full potential is if you give the guy 8 to 12 targets a game. And Seattle, I don't think that they would do that, based on all the rest of the talent that they have, unless McDonald made an effort and said, no, we're DK and Walker are the first options, but right after that, even over Lockett and JSN, we're going to give Bowers the ball and we're going to give him, opportunities. So that means that Lockett gets a couple less, DK gets a couple less, Charbonnet gets a couple less screens, and then, they go that route. But I think the smarter way to go for the Seahawks would to go offensive line. And not only is Jackson Powers the best center and won the Remington, he arguably is the best center in Oregon Duck history. So this means that you could end up getting a Hall of Fame player, not just a pretty good center like Unger or Grassu, a guy that can make a Pro Bowl or All-Pro. No, you could get a guy that could not only be like Pro Bowl, All-Pro year one, but you could get a guy that could be a Hall of Famer. And I stand on that because I think Penei Sewell, I said that he would be a Hall of Famer, and it looks like he is going to be a Hall of Famer as well. And Sewell and him are two of the same. The way that they train, the way that they prepare, the way that they do everything, they're very tight. And if you actually look at what those Ducks players have been able to do, in the last couple years, Kayvon Thibodeau, Penei Sewell, and now with Jackson Powers, I feel that Jackson Powers could be a top 5 center immediately, just like when Creed Humphrey came into the Chiefs. But the thing is with Jackson Powers, it's the height, it's the weight, it's his legs, the balance. And the best part about Jackson Powers, besides his physical nature, is who he is and his football IQ. And he's a ride or die guy. He's the type of guy that takes pride on not getting the quarterback sacked at all. Like, he doesn't want to give up even one sack lunch. When you have that kind of mentality, instead of like, well, I hope I give up only a couple a season. No. With him, he's like, I want to be the best. So when you get a guy like that, there is a chance that he could end up being a top 5 or even top 3 center immediately. And at some point, maybe Jackson Powers could be considered the best center in the NFL at one point, maybe by year 3, 4, 5, if everything goes well and he stays healthy. But it all depends on, what team drafts him and the chemistry on that offensive line. So. In all honesty, Bowers is a better fit for the Colts than it is for Seattle. Seattle should take Jackson Powers or even getting Alt, from like Notre Dame. You want to get the best offensive lineman that you can get at guard, tackle, or center. And I would be drafting a lot of those. And again, O-line and then defensive positions. You don't need to worry about quarterback, running back, wide receiver. Tight end would be a luxury pick, but you only pick tight end after O-line and defensive picks are done, unless you decide to get Bowers. But again, I think Bowers would be more of a natural fit in Indy. And with Indy, he would get the ball. So I feel that you would have a similar outcome to Sam Laporta getting it from Jared Goff, where you could get that with Richardson, AR, and Bowers. So we'll see how it works out. But, hopefully Bowers goes to the Colts because I know Sarah wants it. If he doesn't go to Seattle, hopefully you get Jackson Powers or Alt or someone amazing. And then both of you guys are extremely happy. And, I'm jealous. Me being a Tampa fan, I'd be drooling over those two guys if I was in a position to get those guys. So. Yeah, Seattle is not very good. I mean, I'm a Kraken fan. Megan's a Kraken fan there in Australia. We know what we are. When we made the playoffs and beat Colorado, we were a year or two early. But sometimes the chemistry comes along a little sooner, and sometimes you start to see teams that are young and inexperienced that make a playoff run deeper than ever expected, and maybe a year or two sooner. And then now this year is kind of playing out to maybe what we truly are. And we have to come to terms with that. So you either have to get more consistency out of net. We didn't have that this year. If Drew was playing like he is now all year, we're probably maybe not in the playoffs, but we're probably pretty close, or we're in a wild card spot or just under a wild card spot if we had a healthy Drew all year and didn't even have to look at Joey DeCourt at all. And plus, it's finding the right line, the right chemistry. Line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4. Is it going to be Maddie? Is it going to be Bjorky? And we really haven't had a lot of the guys have consistency. It's been like a different guy scoring almost every game. So, once we can find some consistency, and that's when they're going to end up being better. But again, I think everyone knows Seattle right now is, we only have a 5 to 10% chance to make the playoffs. And that's the reality. We haven't really been that great this year. But we're going to fight, and we're going to try everything in our power, maybe make a move or two on the deadline. And still, that probably won't be enough. But, as fans, we have to, keep grinding it out. And for us, we take little W's. So, here we go. We got to fight. Punch his ass. They stopped it too early. I only got 2 punches. All right, Ty Carte got a couple jabs in there. But I like to see it just, I'm not like a biased, fan on anything. I call it how I see it. But one thing I do see, though, is I think Seattle does have a bright future. But again, it's going to take some time to find the right combination of players. And again, if you're not healthy in net, you're never going to be a good team. You have to have consistency, and you have to be great in net, and you have to give up 3 goals or less every game. And if you're not able to have a guy in net that can do that, And then obviously if you're having offensive woes, because you got to think, for us here in the Pacific Northwest, we're used to the Kraken and Mariners letting us down. It's like, oh, pitching is good, but then we don't have any hitting. Oh, we got Castillo pitching, and it's only 1-0, and then we lose 1-0 because we can't even get a hit or a run. So it's like you have to get 7 to 10 hits, 5 runs or more for the Mariners to win a game, even if we have maybe arguably the best top 5 pitching staff rotation in Major League Baseball. So it's always going to be a team effort for the Kraken and for the Mariners. It's never going to be, oh, the pitching will carry us, or Grew will single-handedly carry us. It'll never be like that. Every single player and every single individual has to do theirs for us to be able to even be talked about, to be in the conversation. But I like what we see so far. All right, we got 12 minutes to go. We're pacing for a shootout. I'm hoping that we can end up getting a goal this period, and we can go up 2-0, get a goal in the third period, go up 3-0, and then Groot can get the shutout, but we'll see what happens. All right, but the thing is, and you have Jackson Powers, and you're like, oh, we're going to draft him. But, if you know he's going to be a Hall of Fame player compared to any other offensive lineman, I don't think you can say that even about Holt. But it's like you have all these offensive linemen and you have all these other players out there. There's no guarantee Bowers is going to be a Hall of Famer, a Pro Bowl, All-Pro guy. He's either going to be Kyle Pitts and then, maybe misused. Ooh, nice punches by Cartier. He actually got 3 or 4 in. You know what I mean? But again, with offensive linemen, especially, you got to look, guards are underappreciated. Left tackle and right tackle, those are the ones that get the most popularity, right? Based on if you're a left-handed quarterback or right-handed quarterback. Those are the guys that, usually get paid the most. But the most important piece on a football team on the line is the center, besides the left tackle, if it's a right-handed quarterback or a right tackle. But I still think the center is more important than the left tackle, because that's the guy, when you have a good one, he's calling the protections. So he's like, the mini quarterback to the quarterback. He's the one that sets everything up and has the vision on, the looks. So if you get a smart center and he understands protections and what they're doing on defense, and he can relay that to the quarterback, then essentially you got 2 quarterbacks back there, evaluating what the defensive look is. So, and some centers can't do that. Some centers just hike the ball. They're big. Some of them can pull, some can't. Some are good run blockers, some are good pass blockers. But the elite ones can, block, for run blocking. They can do pass protection. They can pull left or right, and get extra, blocks downfield to that, second line. And then obviously a guy that can call protections. And again, these are the little things that some people, in football circles don't realize. Damn it! He got a goal. 1-1. There it is. No shutout. Damn it. Andre Kuzmenko. Damn it, Andre. 1-1. Well, the shutout dream has ended. I believe no, but it just looks sexy when you get a shutout, and then it builds confidence. You know what I'm saying? So I like shutouts because I like to be able to see the players get the pub and the love. And it's very hard to get shutouts as a goalie, no matter who you are. So if you're not one of the top 5 goalies in the NHL, it's unexpected. So once you get something like that, not only does that build confidence in the goalie going into the next matchup and keeping his mental health at a high level, but then the head coach, Hack, gains more confidence. The rest of the offense and the players have a better bond and better chemistry. And if you go and look, at games, after a shutout, sometimes when you end up getting one, you can go on an 8 or 9 game win streak. And yeah, you can do that also when you're winning games close, like 2-1, 3-2, 4-3. But if you ever go back and watch games, check out to see what a team does once they get a shutout. And depending on how long it's been since that goalie has gotten a shutout. And a lot of times when you get that shutout, it just brings out all this extra emotion. Uncle Mo, that momentum comes out, and then you get one shutout. Maybe you'll get another one in that next 10 games if you're lucky. And if that happens, you might be able to go on an 8 or 9 game win streak no matter who you're playing. That's what I like to see. All right, baby. Kuzmenko, I see you. We'll give them some love. So Calgary was sitting at one shot on goal, and they were at zero with like what 7 minutes to go in the first period. And now they fired back. They got pissed off. They got a chew and full from the sideline there. Obviously, and now it's all the way to 13-12, I believe. My goodness. And we've got to still be aggressive in the crease. Let's go, Kraken. 14 shots on goal, 13 for Calgary. Nice comeback for them. Let's go. Tata. Have you been hearing any rumors about Tata? I will check. Are you taking over for Sarah? Sarah took off, probably feeling like crap. Now we don't got anything on there, but if something does come up, I definitely will let you know. Megan is a superstar, holding it down with two big donos. Got us to goal. Appreciate that very, very much. It gets tough sometimes, and like when you're grinding it out, and it's like for me, regardless of what sub count I'm at, or regardless of who I am and my status on YouTube being a sports streamer, anyone would be affected, whether you're new or you've been doing this for a long time. When you end up going through 2 or 3 streams in a row that are challenging, and I know that we got some amazing people that are bankrolling and supporting this channel, supporting me, supporting Paisley, supporting the dream. So I know, for a fact that, once we hit that 4th stream or that 5th stream, someone is going to make sure that we're going to get it turned around. I mean, it always happens, but it just still, it's kind of, common, nature, I guess, second nature, that if you have like kind of a challenging stream and then you have another one and another one, I think everyone in life just wants to feel appreciated, for their hard work and what they're doing. And when you have like 2 or 3 or 4 challenging streams in a row, it can get to you emotionally and mentally. It hurts, and but you just got to be able to just think positive and know that people are going to be able to come through at some point, and eventually things will turn around. And but when you're in that moment, when it's, and if you have one stream that's challenging, I can do that. But it's once it gets to like the second one in a row, third in a row, those are the ones that affect me the most. Like if we have one and then a challenging stream, and then we like hit goal or half a goal, and then we have another challenging stream, I'll be okay. It's just when we get like 2 or 3 in a row, it's like, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and just like that shit fucking hurts me, and it's hard for me mentally to like stay positive. But I know I eventually will, I'll fight through it, because I can't get into any kind of like depression, anxiety mode, because once I get down there, and then the more that I'm not streaming, then the worse that things are going to get, because it's like, you're a creature of habit. So it's like when I exercise an hour and a half to 2 hours a day, if I were to stop, which I wouldn't, and then you just, one day turns into 2, turns into 3, and I feel like sometimes that can happen with certain things that you do, and if you, have one day where you're kind of depressed, and then you don't try to climb out, then one day turns into 2, 2 days turns into 3, and then all of a sudden you're in depression, anxiety mode, and then all of a sudden you look up and you're miserable, and it's been 2 weeks or something like that, and you're just in hell. And I know some of y'all are there with me. You guys have been there and done that, or some of y'all may be currently having some of those issues and whatnot. And it's tough. So that's why this is really good therapy, not only for me, but I feel for a lot of you guys too, whether you guys realize it or not. Just being able to have somewhere to be able to go every day for a couple hours if you choose to, it's nice. to be able to have that connection and vibe, and to know that when you're talking to someone and the people in the room that they actually genuinely care. It's not just a bunch of randos, even though sometimes we'll get randos here and there. Elliot in the building. What's good? And that's what makes every channel special, when you have a tight knit group that know each other, but not only that, but actually genuinely care. And that's another thing. You can have a lot of people on your channel, but that doesn't mean that you actually know each other. So to be able to also communicate with a few of y'all, like through Instagram or Twitter/X, I feel I've created probably about, I would say, 10 to 15 really close bonds with some of y'all, the mods, the goats, and a few people that are regulars. And I feel that those relationships, to me, even though we're not face to face, we hang out almost every day. And I feel like the bonds that we have, even though it's, through YouTube, and it's through social media, but I feel like I'm closer to some of y'all than with people that I have in my life here in Oregon. So that says something. And even though you don't see each other face to face, yeah, maybe long distance relationships are hard and they don't work, but long distance relationships, through bonds of sports and wrestling and hockey and anything else, I feel are very, very strong. And we're getting to a point where we're in the social media age where more and more people are going to be working from home, and the technology era is just going to keep getting more advanced and advanced and advanced, where people are going to be doing more and more Zoom calls, and more internet, and more interacting from the computer or whatever device that you're on. That's where we're going. So, like people going into a workplace, that's starting to kind of fade out. Like, you are going to have places that need people to be there, but I feel with technology and how things are going, don't ever underappreciate the bonds that you have, even though some people don't get it. It's just like YouTube and Twitch. It's a community. You're either a part of it or you're not. You either get it or you don't, and that's how it goes. So if other people, like other friends, they don't understand why you're on YouTube hanging on this channel for so long of a period of a time, or why you're on Twitch, there's a reason. It's connection and being able to be with people that like the same shit as you. And then when you can actually find real good people, then it makes it even more worthwhile. Instead of just finding people that have money and that are donating, but they're not a good person, you're actually getting people donations or not donating, and you're getting some good quality people that would give the shirt off their back to people, that are their friends with in their hometown, but also, that we create these bonds on the channel where we would do that for some of each other here. And I think that's really important, to realize that, even when you feel alone and secluded in your own physical life, with your friends in your physical city and state, you're never alone when you have a place like on YouTube like this. Like, you already know you're going to have that, and I feel that, making sure that we have this connection in this place is very important to me. What's good with you, Double E? What's good, my guy? Double E, my guy. Of course. I feel like a lot of us, you can just tell how we are, regardless if you have the ability to donate or even if you don't, but you can just tell, like, the connection and the vibes and the bonds. And also, there's going to be other things that bring us closer too. Like, I might not be a Seahawk fan to do the trifecta with you with, like, the Sonics when they come back, even though the NBA is kind of bootios and stinks. But as far as like Mariners and Kraken, and we don't have the trifecta with me and the Seahawks and all that, with you. But another thing that we have besides Seahawks, but we have that similar love for the NFL. One thing that a lot of the others in the room don't have, they don't have the same type of passion for collecting like you and me. Like you and, oh, baby! There we go. But that passion for collecting, you either have it or you don't. And, there's some people that have it, and some people that have more access to funds to make that collection bigger. But that's one thing that, and then both of our loves for Star Wars and collecting. So, that's one thing that we have, you and me, that some of the others, they might have a little fraction of what we have, but they're not as hardcore into the collecting as we are. We are like die hard, collectors. Like, like if there was like garage sale or some kind of like Comic Con, like we would run into each other, like we would be at the same places looking at the same kind of similar things and stuff. And even though you have more of a Funko Pop love than me, I'm more starting lineup in McFarlane. But I think that's what makes the relationship kind of cool, because you can update me on the Funko stuff. And then if I can give some, advice on McFarlane stuff or starting lineup stuff, so we got the figures and I got the bobblehead stuff down like you do too. But then if there ends up being a pop that I end up wanting to invest in, you're going to be the first person that I'm going to go to see like what's on the market, what's valuable, what's a good deal, and what the variations are for the rare ones, because that's how McFarlane worked as well with like chase figures. So that's cool. 2-1 Kraken, baby. Let's go. Oliver Bjorky with the snapshot, assisted by Jared McCann and my favorite other J, Jaden Schwartz. Let's go. Let's go. We're not going to get the shutout for Gru, but we're winning this damn game. All right, we got to put the octopus, the Kraken. We got to put that in the corner. Yorkie, baby. You did? Hell yeah, bro. I like 911 and 911 Lone Star. Like I say, sometimes you just got to be able to find the right type of characters that you can connect to. And if you have a favorite person in the show or favorite people, and how well it's written. And right now, I haven't seen any of the episodes yet, but the number one show that I'm going to recommend, and it just started, FX Shogun. Okay, they're talking about Shogun being kind of like a modern day, not as popular as Game of Thrones, but based off like the writing, the characters, and like Mayans MC was very underrated as well, like Sons of Anarchy. When you find certain shows that might be on FX or FXX, and it feels like the show should be on HBO or Showtime or Stars, but it's on like FX, but you can tell it's got like more of an HBO Showtime budget, and it's like it feels like an HBO Showtime show. But I haven't heard anybody say that Shogun. It got a 99 out of 100 from Rotten Tomatoes, and I've read and went through little clips, but obviously I haven't got a chance because I've been busy. I think they've only had a couple episodes so far, and I feel it's on late. It's on at like 10 o'clock, I believe, Pacific, on a certain night. I don't know what night it is, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But everything that I've read, everything that I've seen, and even the Japanese actors that they had in there, it's like samurai era and some controversy, some scandal, some killing, and all kinds of craziness that you would want in a show like that. But the main guy in there said that if we can't get actual, like the Japanese people, not just an actor that you hired, like we want to make sure we keep this as true to like Japanese culture as possible, based on, and that's what they did. So they had to go through a grueling process of making sure they had the right people, in it before they actually started, to develop it. So that's why they are at where they're at, the writing, who's in it. So I'm super excited to start that. And as soon as I'm done with True Blood and I'm done with Deadwood, I am gonna do the Shogun, and you can get it through Hulu or your cable provider, Hulu, Disney Plus. I think Hulu has it on there since it's FX. But let me know once you guys watch it and if you love it or not. But I have a strong feeling that anybody that watches it is going to tell me it's a 10 out of 10, like, or a 9 at the very worst. But I'm very excited. It takes a while for me to get into a show, but based off just hype alone. But once I'm bought in, then yeah. So I'm very excited about that. And like I said, it looks like it's going to be an elite show. Like, I haven't seen a lot of stuff on Rotten Tomatoes get 95% or higher, and they were at 99 out of 100. I don't even know how many things, movies or TV shows that Rotten Tomatoes has even given 100. I don't know if any. So 99 might be the highest, and that's where Shogun was at, even at this early stage. So it's going to be amazing. Oh, you finally finished Billy the Kid. Nice. We're knotted up at 18 shots on goal, 2-1 Kraken. Confetti falling. Officials like, stop doing that, Calgary, dummies. That's our guy, baby. All-star. Arguably our best player. Oliver Bjorkstrand, baby. Kraken open. Kraken closed. Kraken anchor. Defend the deep. Kraken. Yorkie. Louie. Let's go. 2-1 Kraken. Louie loves it. Let's go. Yanni with the first. Oliver with the second. Who's going to be third? Would it be Jaden or Justin next? What are we getting here? Maddie, one-on-one. Good save. Godric with his first dono to the channel. $3 holla. I'll throw up your Calgary Flames up there. You got a favorite player, past or present, based off your first dono to the channel? I appreciate that very, very much. Doesn't matter if it's a 99 cents to whatever amount. I mean, the highest we've ever gotten for a single is 1,300. The lowest is 99 cents. Godric, I appreciate you. I'm watching True Blood. Godric is one of the guys in the show. I appreciate you. And let me know what you want for a photo. It doesn't even have to be Calgary related if you're just betting on the game or you're a fan. But if you got a favorite player, past or present, whatever you want me to throw up, I'll find the best HD 4K photo, and I appreciate you. Op got 100. Oh, okay. I was going to say, Op had to have gotten like a 99 or 100 for sure. Tuna's next. What about Tata? You just got to bet on the game? I appreciate you, man. You let me know what you want, brother. I appreciate you. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks. Godric 299. Let's go, Flames. He said, I need to win my parlay. Appreciate you. Well, if you got a particular player or anything, you just let me know. If you don't want any type of photo, that's fine. But I always like to give that, because that way it gets everyone in the room to be able to understand what you're about, what you like. So, it gets a chance for people to kind of get to know who you are, but, without really having to use words. So, $20 shots on goal for the Kraken, 18 for the Flames. Calgary, very slow start. Had 0 shots on goal for like the first 13 minutes of the game. Seattle was on a fucking. They were on one. And they came out really swinging and very aggressive. And Calgary had their moment there. And Seattle tried to punch back and kind of take the momentum away. And now we're sitting at a 2-1 matchup. 8 takeaways. Ooh, 13. 15 hits to 13 for Seattle. Block shot, 17 apiece. Appreciate you. Less than 3 minutes to go. Come on, Kraken. Yeah, certain movies, that have a lot of talking, you have to pay attention. You can't be on your phone, fucking around on your apps or on your fucking ID, looking at photos. Like certain things, you have to put the phone down, to really fully enjoy it. Like, when Game of Thrones came out back in the day, I never had a phone in my hands. As soon as that music hit, phone down, fucking out the window. Where it's like you do it like for 1 hour. You are not going to get a hold of me. Like you're not spoiling it. We're not talking about the show together. Like I am focused fully on the show. And that's I feel like if you can dedicate that energy, and it's very hard now with the way that phones are and social media is. It's like sometimes you don't realize how addicted you are to your phone until you realize when you don't have it. Whether people on their phones, where they have to go to certain places, bathroom, shower, go have lunch, or they're doing this, or they're doing that, they're watching TV, or doing breakfast, whatever it may be. Phones get taken everywhere. But I feel that most people don't have phone discipline anymore, and including myself. It's like, I should be, and I spend a lot of time and effort, where I'm like playing with Paisley, and then all of a sudden, subconsciously, I'm like going back to the phone and scrolling for like NFL news and whatnot, where I need to give my full focus to her and pay attention to her with no phone at all. And I've definitely gotten better with that. A Deadwood movie, nice. Less than 2 minutes to go. We're still going to get a photo of Godric at some point here once we get up there. Longmire, nice. I believe I watched some of Longmire, but I'd have to look at the cast to fully remember. There's a lot of shows that I watched with my ex girlfriend and with like friends that I might have not watched by myself, or someone recommended or introduced it to me. So I always try to give everything a fair shot, even if it might look not like my thing. I'm always willing to give everything a fair shot and a breakdown before I give up on something. So, and typically when I start something, I commit and I stick it out until it's done. I'm a very motivated, I'm a very loyal, honest, grind it out. Like I am very dedicated and motivated. It's like if I start a show, I usually just don't just be like, nope. Like maybe I don't watch it as often as a show that I love where I'm binging it, but I make sure it's in my rotation of shows until I finish it. I don't like to leave things up in the air. I want to be able to start it, finish it, and then realize, okay, that wasn't for me, but at least I got through with it and I finished it instead of just being like giving up on it. Because you never know. Maybe the show gets a little bit better. Normally, the best years of a show are going to be the first few years. And as it gets older, a show or a movie or a series gets shittier because the writers change, or some of the actors or actresses got replaced, or the writing is shitty, and it's gotten progressively worse, you know. Even the great shows, once they get to like that season 7, season 8, season 9, sometimes there's going to be a little bit of a natural drop off. So even if it is a top show, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul. I mean, certain shows like that, they get you. You get hooked instantly, and you can just binge that shit. Like I'll probably do it too. I'll start Breaking Bad from the beginning. But like Breaking Bad is so good to me that I literally could binge it for, it would be a minimum of 2 hours. I would have to probably watch it for, at least that. But then I could easily get into a binge of 6 hours straight of just watching that show. That's how good that show is. Like I remember when I ended up binging it for the first time, I literally would watch it for 12 hours straight, go to bed, wake up the next morning, and then just do the same thing and just watch it from the morning all the way until bed. That's how much I love that show. End of the second period, 2-1 Kraken. So everybody take care of your mental health. It's very, very important. Nice job, Hack. Nice job, Yorkie. Nice job, Yanni. Well, Godric didn't want any photos. So if we don't know anything about Godric, or Godric is a little shy and doesn't want to, reveal too much about himself, which is totally fine. We appreciate the $3 holla and the support. He's watching the game, so you can't go wrong. You haven't heard anyone say a bad thing about Sting in 40 years. You haven't heard too many people say a bad thing about the chosen one, the GOAT, Wayne Gretzky. So until we figure out his favorite player, then I can throw up a couple goats in his honor and his name for his dono. And I got to hit you with a vintage black and white because I love black and white. I feel like I'm an old soul. I might be 41, but I feel like my soul has seen more than what my actual age is. So, because I can vibe with people that are, 20, and I can vibe with the people that are 30. I can vibe with people that are my age, and I definitely connect to people that are older too, people that are 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. I mean, the age range on this channel is phenomenal. It's all as young as 10 to 12, and we'll occasionally get a person dropping in, a youngin, right? And a little stinger, right? And then we got them as old as 90 on the channel. So, a very wide range. I mean, 10 years old to 90 years old. And it doesn't really surprise me. I mean, we're doing sports and we're doing wrestling and everything in between. So, but a very cool black and white of Wayne. Paisley isn't whining at the door. Gotta let her in. And then I'll show you a look of one of the most coveted, expensive, rare rookie cards of all time. The Jordan rookie, obviously, that I had, that I sacrificed for my dream, is probably the most coveted just based on what he did as a player and then what he did with his clothing line with Jordan Brand, with the shoes and the shirts and everything in between, right? But as far as hockey is concerned, this is the Wayne Gretzky rookie. And they made, I believe, like a Tops version and an O-Pee-Chee version, obviously, there in Canada. O-Pee-Chee one is more rare. Gem Mint 10s do not exist. And this card is worth a hell of a lot more than anyone could ever anticipate or imagine. I mean, we're talking stacks on stacks, racks on racks. I mean, there it is. A little piece of greatness from me to you. Yeah, and I don't know if like for me, like I really appreciate like 60s, like old school music. You know what I mean? Like I kind of get through every era. Like I love like you have the 70s and what that represented. I'm an 80s baby, so 80s and 90s are always going to be the best for me. Video game era, the sports and wrestling that were at that time, the birth of the internet in '95. So I really came through the beginning of the internet, the beginning of the video game era, and the best wrestlers, the best athletes in all sports at that time. But when I go back and I listen to like, hip hop now and hip hop back then, there's some I like from back then and now. But then like this music that's old school too, from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, I feel like I connect more to the actual real good quality music, from like the 60s to the 90s. Like there's stuff that was made in that era, 60s, it's in its own era, and then the obviously 70s and the 80s, 90s is more kind of grouped together. But everyone is kind of a different soul. But again, my favorite artist to listen to other than rap is Ozzy. So I'm a big Ozzy fan. So it's like anything that I listen to him is like eternal, and it like certain music will like touch your soul, and you connect to it, and you can vibe with it. And certain artists connect with you more than others, and Ozzy is definitely that for me. Let me open the door for Paisley, and I'll get some for Matt. I hear And do you see what this is right here, Megan? See, it's like all it is like is paying attention. Being a friend and being aware. Is just paying attention to what other people like and just remembering it. And the thing is like I know what everyone likes and dislikes as far as the goats and the mods, and that we all know certain things about each other. But little subtle things like Matt just paying attention to the stream, the photos, and the things that we discuss, you start to realize that people in the room actually know each other a little bit more than people may think. It's all about just understanding, paying attention, and caring. So, no, but he was just joking, but very impressed with the list there. It's definitely going to the things that that she likes and the things that we have put up for her in the past. That's being self-aware. Being able to read the room, read the situation. Oh, and I got to put up. I already put up Sting. Congratulations for an epic career. But I got to throw up Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is so big for basketball. She literally is bigger than any of the men that are playing right now, except for maybe hype Wemby because of what his height is, and he's like a freak of nature. But if you're really looking at it, I go out of my way to watch Caitlin Clark more than I watch to go out of my way to watch Wemby, and that's saying something. When she ended up breaking the record, Travis Scott has no business of being at the game when she broke the record. And of course, he tried to get her jersey, because he knows that's going to be worth money, whether he is a true fan or just a fan that's just trying to capitalize on her success. But you're going to get a lot of people interested, and it's good because as far as the men are concerned and the NBA, it's terrible. So they should be actually happy that she's going to be able to go to the WNBA, and maybe there'll be some more people that'll actually want to give a shit about basketball in general. Because, I would rather watch Caitlin Clark than any man that's playing right now. That's saying something. And she ended up breaking the record, most career points scored overall over Maravich. You're number one. You're like, you know, and I already got love for Sabrina. We saw what she did at the All-Star game, and she's one of the GOATs there, obviously, as well. But Caitlin Clark has a chance to end up being like the best female basketball player ever of like all time. So that's kind of cool, and we'll see if she ends up living up to those very giant, big expectations. It'd be good for the sport. And you're really lucky too right now that you're in the market for a quarterback. In the perfect year where there's a lot of options, and not everyone's going to pan out of those main six guys, right? But just to have a chance to get Bo Nix, and not only that, it actually is a natural good fit. So it's just a matter of them pulling the trigger and drafting him, or if they pass on him, they hope that they can pick him in the second round. But it's like you don't really know how many quarterbacks are going to be drafted in the first two rounds. And if you wait too long, that Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix won't be there. So, hopefully he ends up on Denver and he can make Denver respectable. And then, it'll give Duck fans a reason to be able to root for him. And, the funny thing is, one of my best friends, Justin Jay Graves, who's a Mariner fan and a Blazer fan with me, He's a Mariner fan, Blazer fan, Duck fan. We're all the same. But he is probably my best friend that lives here in Oregon. He's a diehard Bronco fan. Like, he grew up with Elway and all that. So he would love to, and as long as it panned out and it worked out. And hopefully if they draft Bo, it works out. But I mean, even if it doesn't work out to what you hoped for, at least that you got the guy that you wanted to root for before they end up, maybe making a change. But I think that Bo has the best chance to succeed in Denver out of any team that would be needing a quarterback. Much better than New England or Chicago, or New York, or any of these other places that he may be considered. You know, I feel like Denver, it would be the perfect spot for him. Hi, Paisley. I'm right here, honey. It's end of the second period, so I have to keep going. I'm not done yet. All right, brace yourself. Don't grab a bib. I don't want you to start having some issues there. She looks really pretty there. That's actually one of her like best like old school photos. So your boy looks out for you. Oh yeah, I'm blessing you with all kinds of favorite things. All right, we're back. I'm squeezing in all the photos. Yeah. Man, I love, love, love vintage. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just I think if you're older, you just get it, you know. And there's a reason why the younger generation, is jealous, and if you actually compare, just all the different things that were going on. Jerseys were so much better. Of course, there could have been some more subtle details on the jerseys, like the symbol underneath the neckline, because a lot of the NFL jerseys back in the day didn't have like the little NFL symbol, which would have been cool if they would have invented that back then to make them a little bit more fancier. But if you're just looking at the styles of the jerseys, baseball, basketball, football, hockey, I mean, you look at stuff from like the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Oh my God, it's undefeated. I mean, the designs that they have on jerseys now don't even come close to the right kind of color combinations and swag and just the way that everything comes together. Not saying that all the jerseys and clothes and stuff that are out now suck. Some of them are amazing, but there were just more epic looks where you already know they're epic when you hear fans say, "Oh, I wish they wore the throwback all the time." You know, you know that. Let's go, baby. All right, we're in the third period now. Let's go. Let's get this dub. Let's win 3-1. We'll get Megan more photos for her support. Oh yeah! There's the score. Woo! Yes. Adam Larson, right when she was about to leave. Bang! Rister, assisted by Maddie Beniz. Adam, 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 Adam. We're winning, baby. I told you this would be a good bet. Sometimes you just feel it. Plus, I mean, this team isn't that great. It's like you should be able to win this game. Nice job, Adam. Fuck yeah. 3-1 Kraken, baby. Let's go, baby. Way to be fucking electric. 3-1 Kraken. That is a nice boost for the mental health. Way to be electric out there. Let's go. Go, Crew. Nice job, Adam. And it's a different player. Yanni with the first, Bjorky with the second, and that's typically how we roll. We don't usually have one single guy get 2 or 3 goals that often. Does it happen here and there? Yeah, but it's not a regular thing by any means. I think the last guy that got two in a game that I can remember was Matty Beniers when they went back to Boston, where he went from his hometown. But I think it's pretty rare, but it will happen occasionally. But more so or not, I would say, you know, 80% of the games or higher, it just feels like, you're normally going to get a different guy for every goal that we get, unless we go off and we get like 7 to 9 goals. And if we get that many, then there's a chance that there's going to be a guy that has maybe two. But if we have 5 goals or less, usually it'll be by 5 different guys. Yeah, not a shutout, but it looks good. We felt the vibe early. So, they had a little string of momentum for just a few minutes when they got their goal, but we have run this, momentum and just the, pace of the game. We've been on the offensive right from the very start, and we haven't really taken our foot off the gas, and that's why we're up 3-1. So we'll take it. Yeah, you went to go use the bathroom, and literally, they got it. Nice job, Adam. Let's go. Kraken open, Kraken closed. Kraken anchor, defend the deep, release the Kraken. Bowie loves it. Needs another. Keep it going. Let's go. Good shit. I mean, I just wanted the shutout for Gru. I knew we were going to win, and asking for a shutout is very, sports gods. When you ask them for something like that, like you're not, how many shutouts are you actually going to get in a full season? Not very many. You would think what, six or less, unless you're like one of the top teams in the NHL, and then maybe you'll get more. Depending on how good your goalie is, and if you have a top two or top three goalie, and how many shitty teams you can beat 1-0 or 3-0. But that's not going to happen that often. A couple times a season. You hope for a lot, but in reality, it's hard to shut out a team in the NHL. It's not easy unless just both teams are offensively sucking, and it ends up being a 1-0 game and whatnot. But I'll take the dub. But I just wanted Gru to gain more confidence and to gain more pub. And I love seeing guys have success. I like rooting for people to win. I like rooting for people to succeed and exceed the expectations, because like I said, I can imagine what it will do not only for him, but for the teammates, for Hack and the organization and the fan base. You gain more and more confidence, not only in yourself, but everyone around you. Like if Joey Decord didn't get that Winter Classic shutout, do you think we would have went on an 8-9 game win streak and had another shutout by Joey? Fuck no. That wouldn't have happened more than likely. Everything changes, sometimes based on just one period, one game, and then momentum can start, and then it's like, sometimes it'll fizzle out and it only lasts a period, right? Couple minutes, but you're hot for a couple minutes, or it might last a couple periods or a couple games, depending on, how good the Mo is. That Uncle Momentum. Blake Coleman with roughing. We're doing great. We are doing great. 3 different players with goals. Yanni started it off, then Bjorky, and then we got Larson to get us going here. But again, it's like the battle of the bads, or the battle of the mids. Both teams and both fan bases know that we're doing lower and worse than we wanted this season. It's not like we're oblivious or stupid. Of course, we know we're not the top dog, but we're, at least for us, I feel that Seattle is one of those teams that if we are one of the bottom 5 or 6 teams in a conference, that we're not going to give up. Throughout the season, Hack will not allow them just to give up. So that's one thing that I feel really good about, is that no matter what we go through, he will make sure that he has the right people on this team, that will never, ever happen. And I really respect that for him. And I think that's why I know Seattle is going to have success. It just may take us longer to get to the Stanley Cup than some of us want. But I think that, as long as we, keep getting our guys, we draft well, we figure out that if, Gru and Joey are the guys, long term, or if we have to add another in the next 3 to 5 years, and maybe that guy ends up being better, who knows? Getting more players, more centers, more forwards, more chemistry, more defensemen. I think if we could get some badass defensemen, that could take us to the next level too. Having like a all-star defenseman, and that everyone is afraid of, but then also can occasionally score a goal or two and be an enforcer like Turbo, like Tanev. I want that. I want like a tag team of, double T's, Turbo with some other guy, where, when we need that emotional lift, that we need someone to beat the shit out of someone, that we got that guy. And we already got one enforcer, but it'd be really cool to have another. Let's go. Reflect in the building. What's good? What's good? Mike Evans back to the Bucks. Yes, sir. Most of the free agents going back. Michael Pittman Jr., back to the Colts. T. Higgins, back to the Bengals. Mike Evans, back to the Buccaneers. So anytime they wanted to hype up the wide receivers are like, we're not going anywhere else. We're staying where we are. But with the running backs, you're going to get movement there. The wide receivers sometimes are a little more loyal depending on the situation. And again, running backs are undervalued now, so no one gives a shit. That's why no one wants them anymore. It's like you could be a Hall of Fame or Brink Pro Bowl All Pro name, like a Josh Jacobs. But if you have to pay Josh Jacobs a lot of money, or Saquon, or you just draft a guy within the first 6 rounds and pay him $800,000 or whatever bullshit that they pay a guy when you draft him, round 4 through 7, you pay the guy nothing. He's working pretty much for free. And then if you can win a Super Bowl and he ends up being, a top 10 running back, and you get a gem and you get a steal, sometimes that's when you can find a way to get your associate team a little bit further along. or you go running back by committee. But running backs definitely the value has gone down. But the main reason it's gone down is that the players get hurt. Now, if the running backs didn't get hurt as much, the value would be better. But since they've been getting hurt more and more and more, and it's been season ending, that's why people don't want to commit 15, 20 million a year and paying some crazy amount when you can pay a guy a million, a million to 4 million for the first 40 years, and you're probably going to get similar production, or you're hoping, or maybe the guy turns into the next superstar. You don't want to pick up Josh Jacobs, but what if this guy in college is the next Josh Jacobs, and then you get him? So then not only do you get the new superstar, you don't even have to pay. So we'll see how it goes. But I already knew that with Evans that there was a strong chance. It wasn't 100%, but I felt 80% chance. I mean, the only other places that you would consider going is maybe Kansas City or Houston, but obviously income tax, family, being a Buccaneer for life. And Baker, having 13 touchdowns with Baker, and that was tied for number one in the NFL. If Mike Evans only had 4 touchdowns, maybe he's a Kansas City Chief. Maybe he's with CJ Stroud. Like maybe he's like, I need to go somewhere where I can get 10 or more and have a chance to win a Super Bowl. But I'm really happy that Antoine Winfield Jr. will get the tag. Baker is already coming back, even though they haven't publicly said it. And this Mike Evans move, because he, was only going to make a deal like that for the bag if he knew that Baker was coming back. If it was going to be Bo Nix or Michael Penix Jr., that they were going to draft and Baker wasn't coming back, then maybe Mike Evans leaves. I could definitely see that happening, because then he doesn't want to have to start over, and then the whole being Buck for life kind of doesn't have the same backbone and meaning if Baker leaves, because then you're going to an unproven quarterback, and who knows if Mike Evans gets the looks. I mean, he is Mike Evans and all, first ballot Hall of Famer, the only guy to get 1,000 yards in his first 10 years besides Jerry Rice, and he's going to go down, I feel, in most people's top 10s. But when it's all said and done, there's going to be an argument for Mike Evans to be considered, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11, number 12, all-time receiver, depending on how many more years he plays. And if he plays with the team after the Buccaneers' 2 years is up. Like if he goes Buccaneers, and then plays 1 year with the Chiefs with Mahomes, retires and wins, his legacy would even be higher than what it is now. So, oh, damn it! Andre Kuzmenko with a wrister. Rasmus Anderson, Nazim Kadri with the assist. God damn it. He's got 2 goals. Well, there goes that dream. Well, at least we get some action. What's good, Reflect? My boy. I was gonna do a video, but I don't have to be like, oh, look at me, we got my, it's like the Kraken were on. Of course, we did an NFL stream on Saturday, which really felt good to do, where we did best fits, where we talked about Cousins and Evans and all these players. And once we have hockey matchups that are a little or if the Mariners aren't on and it's a little then I will be doing NFL streams again, and we'll do them, 1 to 4 hours, and we'll discuss many, many things, with free agency and the draft, and I'll start doing top 10 streams. So we'll go over my top 10 or our top 10 quarterbacks, going into the draft, top 10 running backs, top 10 receivers, and going in, with all the college players going into the draft. And then we can even do other extra streams where we rank, quarterbacks or running backs or wide receivers, where we do a stream where we do that, where we're ranking our top 10 in the NFL right now, and we can kind of see where our lists are comparing with how we think based off different fan bases and different fans of the AFC and the NFC. Best top 10 quarterback, running back. But I would rather do the quarterback, running back, top 10 stuff based off the college prospects first, because we are going into the draft. So that would kind of, if people want to know, okay, who are the quarterbacks that are going to be selected in the first 2 rounds? And, even though the quote unquote experts think that, Caleb and Drake May and Jaden Daniels and JJ McCarthy are going to be the best, that maybe some of us in here think that maybe Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. have just as good of a chance as those first 4, or maybe better, based on not only of who they are and their skill set, but maybe on the team that they get drafted by is a better fit, and maybe Michael Penix Jr. ends up somewhere special, and maybe Bo Nix ends up in Denver. We'll find out. So. Yeah, but I was gonna do a Mike Evans, thing, but I saw the Kraken were gonna play, and I thought this would be pretty good. Um, and then Mike Evans thing happened, and then I was like, well, I need more news than that. Then the Russell Wilson news happened, and then the Jason Kelsey, we already knew that he was retiring, happened, and then there's like a few little things here and there, that happened. But I was like, well, if the Kraken weren't on, we were definitely going to do that. So, we'll be talking a lot more college football and NFL. And so, if that is more of your wheelhouse, I know not everyone loves baseball. Not everyone loves the Mariners, or when I do Dodgers for my dad or baseball stuff, and not everyone likes hockey, and not everyone likes NASCAR or wrestling. But we have to make sure we're doing kind of the whatever the thing is, the flavor of the day. But we also will talk about other things. But I don't mind going back to doing like NFL stream content or college football. I think we should try to squeeze those in maybe once or twice a week, especially if it ends up being where the Kraken aren't on, the hockey games or the MLB games are meh. Yeah, why not? Or even if there is good shit on, or even if the Kraken or Mariners are on, if it's something big on the NFL or college football side, let's dedicate a stream and do that. Yeah, I mean, I like to teach you guys as I draft, because if you guys always notice, they actually will give you a grade with the draft. Like, out of the 10 people, did you get an A? Did you have the best draft, the second best draft? And a lot of times, if you do have the best draft and you know what you're doing, you're going to be in contention. And that's why when we got to the last month of the season, I thought it would be you or me that were going to end up winning it. You know, and we know we had that other individual, a couple other individuals that we felt that were close, but based off your pickups late, and having Kyron, and then with my wide receiver depth and me being a fucking psychopath on the wire, everyone's sleeping and I'm fucking spying on everyone's team. I know what everyone's bench is, and I'm cycling through the stats. I'm clicking on fucking 100 names a night, So I always make sure I put myself in position to be in the top three. And if I don't win a championship, if you pay attention to what I do, you can learn a lot. Even if things change from year in and year out. Like I went running back, strategy most of the time, and I decided to go wide receiver and to see if I could win a championship. I almost did, but I didn't. But I feel that with the wide receiver concept, I feel that I can. But it definitely sucks when you have not a good running back, RB1, RB2, and flex, where it's like when you have these like superstar receivers and tight end and quarterback, that's fine and dandy, and I can make up the points with the running backs with my kicker and my defense. But when you just don't have elite running backs, it sucks. It doesn't make me excited as much, because it's like I have worries. When I have like one running back at a RB1 that's solid, and then I have an RB2 that hits maybe 10 points a game, and then I don't have anybody else, or maybe I have a flex. But at that point, you're better off just playing receivers. But in the meantime, you still want to have your running backs get 30 to 40 combined. And when you have one guy that's only going to give you 10, that's a lot of pressure to make up the points with kicker and defense. That's why I have to shoot for 20 in defense or 17 for my kicker, because I have to make up the difference. But it's challenging, but I like doing it. I like to be able to teach people that you can do things different ways. But one thing that you have to have, normally is typically an elite tight end. If you don't have an elite tight end, you're not winning a fantasy championship. I don't think I've seen anyone ever win a fantasy championship without one of the top 3 or 4 tight ends. So. Well, no, because he went back to his own team. So Mike Evans, again, Cousins going back to Minnesota more than likely. Michael Pittman going back to the Colts. Higgins going to the back to the Bengals. So I mean, the big name change is going to be probably Saquon Barkley. So based off his age and talent. So if Saquon goes to the Chargers with Harbaugh and Herbert, that could change everything. It won't change the injuries on the defense, but if Saquon can have a healthy year, that could be the difference between the Chargers being the Chargers, or possibly the Chargers winning 10 to 13 games and maybe actually getting to the fucking playoffs and winning a game, let alone making the playoffs, right? And then if he goes to a team like the Ravens, what would that do? That could definitely take him to another level. I mean, if he goes to the Texans, maybe they win 2 playoff games instead of 1. And then you have, Singletary, Saquon, Nico, CJ, and it's sexy. It would be must-see TV if he can stay healthy. But as we know, Saquon typically can't. Or if Josh Jacobs goes to the Texans. Like, just imagine if you get a top 10 running back, they stay healthy, and then they join CJ Stroud. Yeah, you're probably not only winning the division again, but maybe you're a bigger threat to make the AFC Championship game. So there's a lot that's going to happen, but I feel like the Josh Jacobs going to a new team, Derrick Henry going to a new team, Saquon going to a new team, because it seems like the quarterback wide receivers was all smoke. Oh, let me test the market, but they had no intentions of leaving no matter what. But with the running backs, they're like, yep, let me go because they don't value me. They don't appreciate me. And I need to try to get paid before my career is over or before I blow a kneecap or an ACL, MCL, PCL. I got to get paid, baby. That's what they're thinking, right? Especially when you can draft a running back in college, pay him like $1 million to $4 million, or you're paying a guy, 20 to 80 million, and you don't even know if the guy's going to stay healthy for the whole year. So. Yeah, but I always take chances. I always take chances every year. I'll take at least one chance, and then weekly, sometimes I'll take a chance. I'm always upgrading my team, but I have to try to not find just the flavor of the week. I have to project if I grab a guy, can this guy be on my team for the next month or the rest of the year? And I have to look at guys like that. I never pick a guy necessarily just for that week, unless it's like my, you know, starting kicker has a bye and I don't have anyone else that I like that's on the wire, and I have to do a filler for 1 week and then I get rid of the guy. Or if he does good, maybe I keep him, but you know. Preston in the building. What's good? 3-2 Kraken. I got to throw a photo up of Andre. Kuzmenko. Flames. Waka Flame. Andre. I have to find one that represents him and any Flames fans that come through. You don't have to, you got to make sure you give everybody that love. It's good sports karma, not to be biased and one-sided, even with the logos and the photos. I mean, sports gods are paying attention to every word that's said and every action that is made. And if you make sure you make the opponent look swagger and have that riz and have that icy look, and so that it ends up being a stream for both, not just one. Not only is it more enjoyable for our eyes, but then it helps us learn about the other team and the other greatness that's out there that normally would just be hated on or ignored. All right, Kuzmenko with 2 goals, one away from a hat trick. And if he gets a hat trick, would I be shocked? I would not. But I'm hoping that we can find a way. Jamie, high sticking. We got to find a way. 9 minutes to go. Let's hang on to this momentum. But I teach, different ways. Reflect does too. Reflect will have one quarterback, a billion running backs, wide receivers. He'll have an elite tight end, of course, like me, right? And then he'll only have one kicker and one defense, and that's it. But for me, I'll go for sometimes 2 kickers. Sometimes I'll go 3 defenses. Sometimes I'll go heavy wide receiver. Sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll go heavy running back. Sometimes I won't. Common ground. We obviously know what we're getting at quarterback, or at least we hope so, and tight end. Solidify those 2 spots. Sometimes I'll have multiple quarterbacks. He'll just have one. Maybe I'll have 3, even if I have a Patrick Mahomes. But if I can't trust you, I have to find a way to make my team better. And you can find ways to win differently. You can play it where you just have one quarterback, right? One tight end, one defense, one kicker. But at some point, with injuries, you have to make sure that you're giving self insurance at some point. If you're not doing it in the draft or early in the season, there's going to come a point where only having one is a risk. And that. And especially if the player is good, sometimes, you have to sacrifice a running back or wide receiver or a backup quarterback or a backup tight end or a backup defense or kicker that you don't necessarily want to do, but that you probably should. So. I pick up a lot. I watch everyone's moves and how they think and And just because a player did good one year does not mean that they're going to be good the next year. If you look at my teams that I draft year in and year out, a lot of times the players aren't the same unless it's someone like Jay Jetta. Jay Jetta is a guy that I will, depending on where I have my pick at, I didn't expect him to get hurt this last year, but that's a guy that I can feel comfortable in, even though there might be an elite running back that's there that might be, statistically better, unless it's like, because like Christian McCaffrey can be the number one running back in the NFL, but are we fully sold that he'll never get hurt ever again in San Fran? Like, what happens if you pick him and then he gets hurt like 9 games in and then he's done? You might be cooked at that point, depending on how you drafted. You can have him, but again, you got to make sure you have good depth behind him if you lose him. And I lost Jay Jetta and a lot of my players, and I still was able to make it very deep. But again, if I wasn't able to go so deep with Keenan Allen, Mike Evans, Amon-Ra, and Jay Jetta, Jetta got hurt, and that probably cost me the fantasy championship. But again, at least I had others. One-on-one. Oh, baby! There's a good kid. To Kraken. Let's go, baby. That's what happens. See, they noticed that we gave them the flame love, right? With the flames, even put up, the photo. And then what happens? They're like, oh, this guy's actually being legit. He ain't even being a hater. Let's get him another goal. Let's go. Jared McCann. Let's go, baby. All the cheese. Good stuff. Let's go. Oh, did they take what's going on now? Did they take it back? Now I need to know what's going on now. We went from 4-2 to 3-2. Maddie trying to get a goal. Less than 7 minutes to go in the third period. Calgary had 0 shots on goal with like 13 minutes into the first period. How the hell do they have 34 now? They even have more than the Kraken. It literally was like something crazy, like 11-0, 10-0, and then all of a sudden they got one, maybe with like 7 minutes in, and then now what do we got a review, and then they're going to take this goal away? Is that what's going on? Four different players with goals, but does it count or does it not? Because I'm watching right now, right, and it's 4-2, but the scoreboard is showing. So I think that ESPN, the guy that runs it, he must have like Taco Bell runs or whatever, because a lot of times when I'm calling these games or I'm watching, it's like things are not lined up. Oh, there it goes. He said, oh, he's like, oh, dog called me out. I can't be eating that Taco Bell, having to hit the shitter when the game is on. That scoreboard needs to be updated a lot faster, bud. 4-2 Kraken. Jared McCann. They're scrapping. Matty Beniers is trying to like eliminate someone from Earth. I don't think I've seen Matty that upset in a minute. Helmet off, just screaming. Oh, that was dirty. Wow, they say it should be a match penalty. That was dirty as shit. You could have like fucking fucked his neck up. Oh, damn. He got checked and his head went right into the glass. That was like, that should be like a suspension. That shit was dirty as fuck. Like, I would beat the shit out of that guy for that. Oh my God. I've seen some hits this season. That was a dirty hit. And his fucking neck hit into that board. And for, oh man. Now I understand why Maddie was mad. I mean, I don't see Maddie show emotion, but that should be like, you're kicked out of the game, you're suspended, and that's a fine. That hella was dirty as shit right there. That's gonna be on socials tonight. That's gonna be on socials tonight. I mean, it wasn't like you knocked him out, but it could have. It could have knocked him out. Okay, they're gonna get a player review. They kick his fucking ass out. That was dirty as shit. Now, write that one down. Oh, the Flames. Now, moving forward, going into next season, where it's like baseball pitchers. That they do something dirty, and then the next time they play, they hit the player. And then Maddie was right there to step up for his teammate. He said, "Fuck that. That was dirty as shit." I would just start fucking. 4 Kraken players went in there to beat the shit out of him. I like that. And then a couple of them tried to double team Matty there when Matty had his helmet knocked off. But good for Seattle to step up for their teammates, which they should. Any team would have in that situation. But that was one of the top 3 dirtiest hits against the Kraken this year. I'm writing a mental note in my brain. Okay. I remember. Oh, now they're going back. Oh, that was dirty. He pushed Jared McCann's head into the ice. So and that was on November 4th. So we have some bad blood here with this Calgary Flame team. That was fucking hella dirty too. When you end up pushing down on someone's face when they have the helmet on, that's fine. But then when you grab like their neck or, and then you get to a point where you can smash their face into the ice directly and then the helmet slides up, like you can really fuck someone up right there, like doing that shit. So I totally forgot about that when he did that to McCann. So obviously they have something against us. We obviously don't like you. And now this rivalry will be a little bit more intensified since we have 2 dirty plays by their team. Okay. All right. We don't need to stoop to your level, but we will. Five minutes checking behind. That's all you're going to give Martin? Bullshit. I totally forgot because I remember there was a few dirty plays, but I didn't think that the head down to McCann where that happened. Because a lot of times for it to be a significant injury that we remember, oh, he missed 3 games because of that, and then we go back, oh yeah, but if he ended up playing next game, but it was just a dirty play, those are the ones that sometimes we forget because we're watching so many games throughout the season, Kraken and other teams. Less than 6 minutes to go, 4-2 Kraken. Let's go. Yeah. But like, I don't want our players to get seriously hurt. It's one thing to get like, oh, you got roughing or high sticking or slashing, But like when you're like almost trying to eliminate the player from playing tonight and beyond, and when you see a player do something sketchy, where it's like you're trying to knock the player out. You are trying to knock them out tonight, and hopefully, maybe more than just this game alone. And sometimes it's like with the NFL players and the bounty gate with like the Saints players. They were trying to injure Brett Favre and they had the money on the table that whoever injured him or knocked him out got the X amount of money and whatnot. And it's probably big money too, like over $1,000, like get to the quarterback, here's an extra $1,000 to $2,000 or whatever, in their little fucking bounty gate pool, I mean, to act like that kind of shit doesn't happen on teams, you don't want to think it happens, but certain coaches, certain D coordinators, maybe suggest that type of thing. It's not necessarily the players or the ringleaders for that type of thing. It usually is the D coordinator who's a fucking psychopath, right? Might be a talented coach, but a psychopath, and then does shit like that. 5:29 left, 4-2 Kraken, baby. Reflect, have you watched any Mariners yet, or are you waiting for the regular season? Have you got a chance to watch any of the spring training? I mean, we're terrible out there. Of course, we don't have our starting, arguably one of our top 5 starting 5 units. A lot of people, supposedly, from what I'm hearing from non-Mariner fans, a lot of fans of other teams think that even if they hate us and they hate the Mariners, they think that we do have a top 5 starting 5 unit. I've also heard some that they think that we're as high as number 1, and they might even be rivals. So I'm not necessarily fully sold on Bryce Miller and Wu being as consistent as people might think they're gonna be. I hope so, And then, you got Logan Gilbert, who will be up and down, Castillo up and down, Kirby. I mean, as far as name recognition is concerned, Castillo, Kirby, right? You're going through Miller, Wu, Gilbert, and then you even got Emerson Hancock, first round pick out of Georgia. So if Wu starts sucking ass, then we can replace him with Emerson Hancock from Georgia, and boom shakalaka, and then we get another guy right there. So we have the depth, but again, hitting, we're terrible. Chemistry, I'm worried. And I know it's early, and you're seeing like, Haniger, hit a home run, and some of our young guys make some plays, and not all the guys that are important are playing enough yet, like Julio, JP, and Cal. That's going to be kind of the heart and soul, of the roster before we get Polanco and some of these other guys at new positions that if they step up or if they suck ass. So Seattle sports and Oregon and Washington, Pacific Northwest sports, we kind of go through the same trials and tribulations, whether you're a Beaver, a Duck, a Husky, a Cougar, a Seahawk fan, a Blazer fan. Sonics will be back shortly. Kraken, Mariners, whatever it may be. It's like we don't really have all the pieces of the puzzle a lot of times to win, but we build. And eventually, when we build a championship roster, we typically will win, or we'll at least get there, But it's going to take time. $10 holla. I know. 5-minute major. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks. Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. $10 holla. Megan with a 50. Megan with the 50. Megan with the 10. Making sure O-Dog gets taken care of. I appreciate you. Yes? Nice. Reflect with a tour. Appreciate you. I want to make sure we get you on a good rounded number. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks. Cactus Jack, bang. And we'll be doing Kraken and we'll be doing Mariners. That'll be a given, especially if I can't do the Blazers and the NBA is so hard to watch. Even if a Dame was there, it's like I just feel like more of a connection to, the Kraken, based on what the state of the NBA is. Now, will we do some March Madness? Yes. Will we end up doing Caitlin Clark for maybe a game? Possibly. She's the most must-see TV thing besides Wemby, and arguably, I think she's the most must-see TV basketball player on the planet. I would rather watch her than Wemby. So that says something, that she's doing big things right now, right? We'll do March Madness for the men's, maybe a little Caitlin Clark. NBA. Will we do NBA here and there? Yeah. If it's like last, resort, but I would rather do a freestyle NFL stream or college football rather than NBA. But I mean, once we get to the NBA finals, I guess we'll see who's there. And, if there's nothing better to do, then maybe we'll end up doing some playoff games. But I don't know. NBA for me, it's just a big hard pass. I hope it gets better, though. I really do. I mean, I already watch a bajillion things, including wrestling, too. So I guess it's one less thing I have to watch. But I appreciate you, and I appreciate you. Under 4 minutes to go, 4-2 Seattle. I watched AEW Revolution last night. Incredible. Sting's last match. Incredible. Darby Allin climbing up to a 20-foot ladder into glass, like real glass, right? Cuts everywhere. Hospital visit, 100%. Amazing stuff. And then NASCAR was great too. Another fight. Beat the shit out of him, Brandon. There we go, Tanev. That's payback. Now, everyone start beating the shit out of them. Let's go. Obviously, this is going to be one of these, like, Houston Astro, Los Angeles Angels rivalry with the Mariners, where we hate you and you hate us. And they've been doing dirty shit to us. Yeah! Tanev. Fuck his shit. Fucking Turbo. Bam! Turbo don't give no fucks. Turbo will keep hitting you even when you're on the ground, baby. He said, you're cheap as fuck. And if you're going to try to injure one of our players, I will beat the shit out of you. That's why, under any circumstance, you should not trade Tanev. We have nobody like him. He's like the Dennis Rodman, of our team. And I fucking love it. He's not going to score a goal or get an assist every game. But, like I said, if you do something dirty to him or something dirty happens to us, I hope you got someone can throw hands, because if you don't, he's going down. And I like that. He's tough as shit. And the cool thing about Tanev is that he's not necessarily a dirty guy himself. Will he get heated? Will he make a questionable, kind of, is this a dirty play or not? Yeah, occasionally you're going to have, guys that are physical and fighters that are going to be sometimes, drawing the line and was that a dirty or not? But there's a difference between like a penalty, a dirty hit, or if you're actually trying to injure someone and eliminate them. Like if you're trying to eliminate someone, and that's the difference. And I feel like, a lot of stuff with Turbo, he's going to kind of, be the guy that is going to stand for what's right. So, if that means that he has to take a couple punches to the fucking eye, and he might lose a fight once in a while, so be it. But, with him, his passion comes through. And it's really cool to have a fighter as one of like the most favorite players on the team. Like if you ask any Kraken fan, I guarantee Turbo is in their top 3 or top 5. He might not be number 1. Maybe it's a goalie. Maybe it's Joey. Maybe it's Philip. Maybe it's Decord or Gru. Maybe it's Matty Beniers because he was drafted to be the most popular guy and the best guy. Maybe it's Bjorky, the all-star. Or maybe it's Jaden. Maybe it's Justin. Maybe it's one of those. But I like the guys that are tough, that will stand up for what's right. And we need guys like that. We need more guys like that. Hell, I wish we had fucking 4 turbos. Hell, when we have 4 turbos, that's when I'm going to be like, okay, we are going to be scary good. No one will fuck with us. 4 guys that are going to beat the shit out of you. A guy that can beat the shit out of you in every line that they have. First line, beat the shit out of you. Second line, they got a different guy. Third line, a different guy. Give me that. Less than 3 minutes to go. 4-2 Kraken, baby. Yeah, but I've been watching. I've been trying to keep up with a little bit of everything. They give the Kraken a 5 to 10% chance to make the playoffs. So deadline's coming up though, and if we can beat the teams that we're supposed to and steal a few, then that percentage will go up. But kind of like the Mariners, we're going to be up and we're going to be down. Sometimes we're going to be living our best life. We're going to be living, just cloud 9. But there's going to be other times where we're going to get frustrated because, like, I don't know what's more frustrating. It's probably the games where you're playing a shitty team and you lose, and if you lose big, it's like I got no fucking patience, if we're playing like the A's or the Nats. Royals are going to be better, so you can't say the Royals anymore. And Bobby Witt Jr. is a fucking superstar. But again, the Royals were a team that you should be able to beat up. But again, sometimes teams are going to have their way with you, or if they play you well, or get hits off your pitcher early, and then that guy exits early, then anyone can have a second chance in the second half of a game. 6th inning on the second half of a game after the starter goes out, then it's a brand new ball game. That's what makes the baseball fun. You get the first half of the game, and then after the starting pitching goes off, then you see who really has the cojones to be able to have really good relief pitching closers and who can actually make clutch hits at the end of games. Hopefully that's JP, Julio, and others this year. But I am excited, for Mariner games. And my initial reaction, to what I'm seeing right now is that we're going to be a bad team this year. And I hope that that's not true. I hope that we're not going to be a bad team, but I don't know if I can see this team based off paper, what I've seen, what I've read. I don't know if this team is a 90 to 100 win team. If I had to put money on it, I would probably say probably not. But I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping that this new collective unit of guys can come together. I hope we don't bat 220 or 230 as a fucking team for almost the whole year. And if we can, be better, 1:15 left here in the third period, 4-2 Kraken, 38 shots on goal for Calgary when they had 1 with 13 minutes gone in the first period, and now they have a shitload. But we have found a way to have an amazing goaltender in net in Philip Grubauer. But I think with the Mariners, I don't know, man. I think that if everything clicks, yeah, I think we can win 90 to 100. But I'm just not sure if it's going to click. Like, I feel definitely more confident in the pitching staff. I'm very nervous to see on how some of these role players that are coming back to us, like, yeah, it's all a cool story with like Haniger and whatnot, but I can't have you batting 170 and like striking out left and right. I mean, we got rid of all the guys that were striking out left and right for the most part, besides Julio. So, And I like number guys. I don't care about lower name guys like Moneyball guys. And it kind of seems like that's what we went for. Let's just hope that they can execute and they can be, they can have good chemistry together and we can get some good wins. But I feel it's going to take us a while to have that chemistry click. And I hope we come out of the gates, on fire. That would be amazing. But I don't know. Like first 10 games of the season for the Mariners, 8-2, right? But in reality, what happens if we end up being 3-7? And we're like 4-6. I'm like, fuck, not this again. You know, goddamn owners not spending money. But then again, it's like if the owners are not going to spend the money, then guys like Julio just have to be better. Castillo has to be better. Like the guys that we have to be superstars, not just like guys that are name recognition. And we're just floating and skating by on the MLB ranks because of the name recognition. Fuck that. I need to see results. And hopefully we can get results. But I know already JP, Cal, and Julio will be my favorite three, and I hope we can lean on those guys. And maybe at some point we can get Harry Ford to get called up. He's my favorite that is on the underneath. There's a couple that are my favorite, but I mean, as far as I want to see him in the big leagues and what he can do, and Harry Ford at some point will be our catcher, whether it be next year or the year after or the year after. But in the next 1 to 3 years, he will be the starting catcher, and then Cal will go to DH. And if we have a guard, if he's still on the team, we can put him somewhere. But, Ford is the future. But again, you don't want to bring Ford up if he's only batting 240 and, limited home runs and, defense a little shaky. We want to make sure we're bringing him up as close to 280 batting average as possible, preferably 300 batting, hitting, fielding, defending at catcher, throwing guys out. And he's got an amazing arm. So even though he's kind of built like a Buster Posey, maybe that's what we need. And then we can throw Cal, who's a little bit bigger with the dumper, even though he lost weight. Final score 4-2 Kraken. And we can put him at designated DH forever, right? And have him play catcher as a backup, or if, Harry Ford gets, tired or hurt, and then we can just focus on Cal just hitting. And then maybe he can get to be a better hitter, by focusing more there. Not that I want Cal to lose his job because let the best man win. But I would assume, throwing guys out, Ford will be better at that, and that will be the thing that puts him, and flexibility with Cal, the DH also helps. It's not like Cal sucks at hitting, and then they're like, oh, you just got benched and lost your job. So, Kraken, baby. 4-2, baby. That's Kraken hockey, baby. Later, brother. Release the Kraken. Series tied 2-2, but I'm alarmed on how dirty they are. Who else do we have beef with? Who else have we had beef with in the last year and a half out of all the dirty hits and all the bad things that have happened to us? I have to feel the way that they play us and the way they try to eliminate us and try to injure us long term. These guys are on the top of the shit list now. I'm not sure if there's anyone that's even higher than them based on the way that they're trying to injure the player. Like shoving some guy's face into the ice after you're trying to first you push his head into the ice once, and then he kind of lets up, and then you do it again. That's like with intent. It's like if you push his head down when he's on the ground once, that's one thing. But then when you go back for more, it's like when you're jumping someone or you're beating someone up and you knock them out, and then you look over them and then you hit them in the mouth again or the head because they're, they pissed you off and you're getting that extra 1 or 2 licks in after they're already out and they can't defend themselves. It's like, come on, guy. Or what other photos would you guys like? My mental health is great. Megan came through like the goat that she is. Reflect came in. We had Godric give us his first donation. It's weird because I'm watching True Blood, and Godric, is one of the characters, and Godric is not very common name. Coincidence? I'm not sure. But NASCAR was great on the weekend. If we ever get enough fans that love NASCAR as much as me, we'll do a NASCAR stream. But I'm going to watch it every Sunday. I love it. I everything about it. Hell, I like racing so much. Sometimes I watch the trucks when I'm bored or the Xfinity. That's when you know that you're a hardcore fan, because there's some people that only watch the NASCAR Cup, like the top of the line pros. But the people that love racing, a lot of times, they don't care if you get a race on Friday, a race on Saturday, and a race on Sunday. It gives you extra incentive to be a fan and just to watch. So, yeah, I mean, we had Yeah, F1, Formula One. I'm not into Formula One yet, but if I ever get enough people that can like help me, and then I can have a group to watch it with, hell, I wouldn't mind doing an F1 stream, for like the top event or whatever, and people can educate me along the way, and then I can get more knowledgeable in F1. Like I know, some of the famous drivers from the past that have been in it or won it, and the drinking the milk and and all the celebration stuff, But yeah, we had a couple days where we had like 3-4 days of very low support or none. So that usually gets to me a little bit mentally because it's like if you have a tough day, a good day, you're fine. But if you have like a tough day, a tough day, a tough day, a tough day, after the second day, you start feeling not so good. And then if you go a third day or a fourth day, you're like, shit, that the people are great and we have a great room and a great supporting cast. You don't know what newbies will, equate to help out, if any, and then you have your regulars and your goats and whatnot. But it definitely feels good when you have a few challenging streams where you can kind of get back to hitting the goal or getting close. That way, at least I can survive. And Paisley's got some, a bet visit this month to get a couple shots, and I know that's going to be probably like 150, $200. So I'm going to have to grind it out extra hard. But we will start incorporating more NFL, college football, or just like talking about football streams. So if the hockey matchup is questionable, or the Kraken aren't on, or baseball's going, and the Mariners or Dodgers have a day off, and there's some cool shit that's going on in the NFL that's worth talking about, then we can always sacrifice a hockey or baseball stream to do that. And like I said, I'm always willing to do NASCAR. I'm willing to do baseball. I'm willing to do NHL. I mean, I'll do literally anything. Boxing, UFC. It just depends on if we have enough people that are going to enjoy it together. So, oh my gosh. Now you're aging yourself. But the thing is, most people have no knowledge on indie, so they have no recollection what that means. That what era is that information from? So you're safe there. It's not going to age you because I don't think a lot of people like. I don't know. I feel I've always got into like NASCAR, but I think if I had a favorite driver in F1 and then I made an effort to watch the big races every year, then I would become a super fan. But at this point, I mean, I'm already doing so much already in my life that I just, maybe one of you, maybe we'll make it happen, or you can give me information and let me know when it's on, and then I can, make a choice to see if I can watch it. I mean, I love speed and, the sound and, the everything about racing I love, and then if you have a good surround sound or speakers, that makes it even better. Because I remember, when I moved out to my first place, I was the first one to move out of high school, and my roommate at the time, Jake, he had a Homer Simpson like Intel job where he wore like a clean suit. Right, so he's wearing the clean suit. He's making good money. I'm working at True Green Chemlaw being a phone rep. I got the #1 sales rep on the planet for this company out of like 100 locations at my location, teaching me everything, all the skills that I would be using to this date, and sales and people, So you never know. You never know. Oh, I got to get some more. But I wouldn't mind, watching, but I just never have had a favorite driver. And I've just been more, NASCAR related. I'm a Dale Senior guy. I'm a Dale Junior guy because I like father-son combos. I appreciate greatness. So even though I wasn't a fan of Jimmy Johnson or Jeff Gordon, I was more Dale Jr. and Dale Sr., but I respected the fucking greatness. I like Smoke. I like Tony Stewart. I liked the Home Depot 20. He put Home Depot on the map. He would talk shit, but back it up. So it gave you another driver to root for that was edgy, but was cool. And it was like you could root for him. I mean, everyone remembers that Home Depot Orange 20. It's like, even if you didn't watch NASCAR back then, you still kind of remember, the DuPont, the 24, the 3, the 20. And racing now is definitely different than what it was. But I think another reason why I love NASCAR is because it's on Sundays. It's only on once a week, and it fills the void of football. And, I love it. I love the sounds, and the announcing is great. The sponsors, the teams, it's like for some people, they don't get it. But again, if you know all the names of the drivers, the history, you have a good surround sound setup, you love the NFL, there's nothing on fucking Sundays. Boom. If you don't want to watch baseball or hockey, you get a chance to watch something cool.
And I would recommend, if you have never been into it, try it out, sometime, or maybe I'll do streams and we can get enough people. But I think it's pretty fucking exciting, and I give everything a fair shot. Like I go hockey, baseball, and NASCAR over the NBA. So that's saying something. If I feel the NBA is the bottom, and every race that we've had this year has been amazing. We had one race that happened not this weekend, but last weekend. That was the closest race of any NASCAR race of all time. You had 3 cars at the finish line between 0.03 for the finish. So if that's not exciting, I don't know what the fuck is. And you get big wrecks. And when you get a wreck, it's not just like 2 cars. It might be fucking 16. So I like, as long as no one's getting killed like Dale Sr., and they're doing, they're in there and they're okay. They're flipping, they're on fire, whatever. But as long as no one's dying, I'm all about watching that action, and I love me some NASCAR. You guys let me know what photos that you guys want. Defend the Deep, release the Kraken before the game started, right? After the game ended, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Good stuff. I love it. David again. Phil Larson. Oliver Bjorkstrand. Johnny Gore. I love it too. It's always like a different guy. Again, like I said this before, when your team isn't one of the best teams in the NHL, that's usually the way that things are constructed. You don't have a single player that's leading in points, assists, and goals. We don't got an Nathan McKinnon on our team, like that. But again, it brings more teamwork together because you have to rely on everyone even more so than if you had a Nathan McKinnon on your team. And then it has, more pressure on the players knowing that it could be anybody that could be the hero. Nice job, Kraken. What photos do you want? Megan, what photos do you want? Reflect. Let me know. Swag, 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 swag. That's worth a bajillion. Hell, to even have that card even like non-graded if it was in good condition. But not only that, a Gem Mint 10, golly. This is the Wayne Gretzky rookie card. Gem Mint 10. The only thing higher would have been a pristine 10 through BGS. So that's a lot of money right there, baby. You know what else is money? The Kraken. I did the new image for Gru. I've been trying to put more effort on getting more of the images. It takes a lot longer with these hockey ones, but it just seems like the more images I get, the better the Kraken are doing, baby. I mean, shit, if a bunch of Swifties wanted to come and donate a shitload of money and all I do is show a bunch of pictures and they want to support the cause, hey, I'm willing to do what I need to do to be able to, get myself out there. Is that something I would want to do every day? No. But if I got invaded by 100 Swifties and then all of a sudden donations are flowing and then we're at $100, $200, $300, $500 and all I got to do is do photos for an hour or two and just do photos and that's it. I mean, you could pretty much do a theme stream for anything, It wouldn't be my number one choice, but hey, if you want to support me, I can support you. It'd be cool to do that with like wrestling, like vintage wrestling, and just doing like a wrestling stream with just like all wrestling fans and, and then you get all kinds of photos. Bo Nix to the Denver Broncos. Got to make it official. Bo Nix from the Oregon Ducks to the Denver Broncos. I mean, we can envision it, right? Sean Payton You know, and again, if you had Nathaniel Hackett, I wouldn't want him to go there because then it's like, I don't want him to get ruined, you know, but just the simple fact that you got a guy that used to be a top 5 coach, you know, and if you can mold Bo Nix, like what happens if Bo Nix turns into a baby Drew Brees and then the Broncos end up being relevant, you know, in 3 to 10 years? You know, you need to get relevant sooner than later. Otherwise, Peyton will get fired, right? But, you know, what happens if Bo Nix turns into Drew Brees 2.0, 3.0? You know what I mean? Something to think about. No one's really thinking that can happen, but why not? You know, of course, you have to build the O-line. You have to have better running backs and receivers, better tight end, better defense, better coaches surrounding him. You know, but if you can start building the pieces and if they can work together, you know, maybe something could happen. I don't think he'll be a Drew Brees, but you never know who might turn out to be, a Pro Bowl, All-Pro, and a potential top 12 superstar quarterback. You never know. Could be Caleb. Could be Drake May. Could be Jaden Daniels, right, from LSU. Could be J.J. McCarthy. Could be Michael Penix Jr. Could be Bo Nix, right? I like wrestling streams. I like wrestling. Anything that you guys want to see? Let's go. Gotta make it right though. There we go. It's like when the spinning logo is not there, like I feel like it's like the picture is naked. Like I need to make sure that everything is like, you know, it's like you have to first, you know, I was doing like my logo at first, but then I was like, I don't even need to have my logo on there. I was like, it's going to look a hell of a lot better to show the love to the fans, you know, and then going from different images and then finding transparent images and then stepping the game up to going from transparent images to actual spinning logos or logos that do shit. The GIF and the GIF world. It takes it to a whole nother level, baby. Legend. Yeah, that's my choice too. Kraken versus Jets, and we might get our ass kicked and just get fucking obliterated. But if we win that game, that could be a momentum swinging game for us if we can beat them. That is going to be interesting. Yeah, and mine's either that or an NFL stream, I guess, is where we're going to go. But, I mean, Winnipeg. I mean, if you get your system, you got to play your system, right? I mean, you just got it. You love Call of Duty. I mean, unless you want to play it after or before the stream or after the stream, but... But Winnipeg is first place in the Central over Dallas, Colorado, right? Nashville. So, I mean, it might get ugly where we're down like 5-0 or like 4-1. So, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out what the best method would be to do. But we're either doing the Kraken stream or I'm doing an NFL college football stream. So... That was one of the top 3 dirtiest hits I've seen out of any game I've done this year, Kraken or not Kraken. I mean, I know that we're called the Seattle Kraken, but they don't need to like try to injure us. You know? I'm glad that he didn't get knocked out, because if he got knocked out, oh my, that would have been when everything, all hell would have broken loose if he would have been just like out cold. You know, that's It's like, I don't like that shit, especially when you're getting, you know, checked into the wall, but then it's like your head and neck are going directly into the glass and you have no way to protect yourself, or no, you don't know when it's coming, you know? So it's like you can easily get, you know, bonked in the head and get knocked out, or, you know, to hit something on your head or neck area. So yeah, I don't think Penix is going to go to Seattle. I don't see any image in my, you know, ESP. I don't see him, you know, in that uniform. Plus, it'll be much better if you guys draft, you know, like Alt or Jackson Powers. You know, I don't think necessarily you need Brock Bowers, but if you did go Brock Bowers, then you got your tight end for the future. But then you got to make sure you're going like offensive line for the next 3 picks after that, or at least the next 2 picks after that, and then trying to get, you know, a free agent offensive lineman, you know, to come through. You still need defensive line help as well, you know, so it's someone to be able to be a sack lunch machine. You know, having a couple pass rushers on the D line would help. Need linebackers. You know, Bobby Wagner, got a couple guys at linebacker that aren't going to be there. So you got 2 guys to fill there. Secondary can always use better players, regardless of what name recognition that you have. So yeah, that's crazy. Hopefully we can get some justice, but the Flames are on the shit list right there. I thought we were, you know, I didn't realize how dirty they were to us before, you know, but I guess when they see the Seattle Kraken, you know, that inner Hogan boot comes out and then they have to really try to hurt us, I guess. It's not good enough to like beat us up. It's like you have to knock us out for the game. Golly. All right. I guess so. Make sure you're taking care of your mental health. Future Pro Bowl, All-Pro, top 5 center in the NFL, future Hall of Famer, Jackson Powers Johnson, the powerhouse, best center in Oregon Duck history. If you need an offensive lineman, he might be better than any tackle or guard in this draft. Like, there is a chance that he'll be actually the best offensive lineman in the entire draft, over all the guards, over all the tackles. Think about that for a second. When's the last time that you've heard that a center could be better than the guards or the tackles? Almost never, unless the guy is incredibly special. I think only thing that will derail Jackson Powers Johnson is injuries, but he doesn't have a history of real being injured. So prayers up. My God. Reading the protections, baby. Good night, Judah. best part about him, it's not even the play, it's the off the field. That's why, I can tell with certain guys that, yeah, they might get hurt. But I mean, if you got so many good things going for you based on your personality, the teammate relationship, everything, who you are, I was 150% sold that Penny was going to end up being, all Pro Bowl, and he will be a Hall of Fame player. And if he keeps on the trajectory, he will be. And I haven't felt like that about anybody else besides this guy. So I have a very strong feeling that, he could be like a Creed Humphrey, be a top 5 right out of the gate. And depending on what team he goes to, there's a possibility that he could end up being a top 2, top 3 center overall, or the best center in the league. I think that he has all the intangibles that he could be, at that level, like a top, player, just like Caitlin Clark could end up being the top women's player of all time, possibly. We don't know if she will, but... yeah. And we'll see if you guys end up going that direction or not. You're going to have those picks, and we'll see if you guys end up going for a lower name guy deeper in the draft. It just depends on what they value as the first pick. I don't know if they would be enamored enough to pick a center or a tight end with the first pick, but you never know. But he'll be good. Yeah, lots of O-linemen. Obviously there's going to be some that are the popular name. And as we know, sometimes popular name guys pan out. Sometimes they don't. And, sometimes you can get a lower name guy like a Tariq Woolen, and not a lot of people know who he is. And it's a team fit kind of guy, right? And then it ends up panning out. So sometimes you can go both ways and be a winner. So we'll definitely find out how it pans out. Tristan Wirfs builds, yeah. Tuna's on the trade block. Uh-oh. Damn it. There was a few people that had a list of players that they were guessing that may be on the block that I was reading. Some that are realistic and some that maybe they just, had a gut feeling. And damn, we'll see what happens. Yeah, but Tristan Wirfs builds he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's like in the same category as like a Penei Sewell. He's going to be one of the top every single year. And the only reason that he wouldn't be is if he gets hurt. Like, he is just a freak. Like, when you start seeing guys like those Orlando Pace type of guys and the big guys, that have made a name for themselves over the years, you're going to get that stability, continuity, and most importantly, consistency. So, yeah. The only problem is if you end up getting a guy that's got a Tristan Wirfs build, right? And they look amazing, right? And then they have that serious injury. And then the guy that was hyped up like a Jackson Powers, you passed, and then he turns into a Hall of Fame player. Then you're going to be like kicking yourself. You're like, shit, I like this guy just as much as the guy that was popular, but we decided to go this route. And then unfortunately, this guy has the injury. And then the guy that maybe you should have went after ends up being a Hall of Fame player on another team. There's nothing worse when something like that happens, like when you had a chance and then you passed and then they pan out, But again, we might be able to get some good results out of those two as well. And it just depends on the team, the scheme, the fit, and a little bit of luck. So weight room, guys. Yeah, absolutely. Anything else that you or Megan want to see before we go? I got to go take Paisley on another walk, eat some dinner, and then we'll be back tomorrow for the Kraken and Winnipeg, or we'll do an NFL stream tomorrow. Depending on what reports and stuff. The guys get the ability to get franchise tag tomorrow, so maybe we'll do one or the other. We're going to still be talking about both things anyways, but so we'll figure it out. Yeah, that'd be terrible, especially when you have them rated just as high or in some maybe categories higher than even Jackson Powers based on, all the different skills and like drills that they do. It's not like one guy typically is going to win every drill, but you never know. All right. Well, I love you guys and I appreciate you guys very, very much. Hey, enjoy your new Xbox tomorrow. If I don't hear from you for a day or two, I'll understand. Matt, thank you so much for stepping up for Sarah. Go Ducks as always. I love you guys and I appreciate you guys. Sarah is sick, so hopefully that she feels a little bit better. We're always going to have greatness on the stream, including you guys, including the GOAT. Hey, rookie cards and all. And I take care of you. Hey, I may not be on there a long time, but I'll at least get it once or twice for you. Appreciate you, Matt. And I appreciate you guys very, very much. And we'll find out what we're going to be getting in the draft shortly. A lot more college football and a lot more NFL streams to come. Love you guys. And I appreciate you guys very, very much. Kraken, big, big win. 4-2 final. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. I got one question for you. Who you know talks sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. And I'm out. Okay.